mission, on mission. Trying to get it right. Transition. Changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission. On a mission. Trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, ooh. Transition, on mission. I'm on a mission. On a mission. I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transition in my life. On a mission. On a mission. On a mission.
Welcome once again. This is Alchemizing Energy. Today we have the third installment of Principles of Ifa with Master Teacher and Ascended Master Baba Yashaba. And tonight we have a special teacher Ogun Baby in the house tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Alafia.
Brothers. So we made this into a series because I think I put on there part 2, but I think we're really on part 3. I got because we did the 1 and that was really part 1, but I got to get the count right. So we're really on part 3 of this series, if you really think of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. I say, yeah, I think it is part 3. Basically, where we come from from the beginning to where we are now. Yes.
yeah, I'm going to start making that easier to be found on the front page, so you guys look for that. We're gonna also have we're gonna be getting really deep into the calendar this time around, and we're also and some other subjects when it comes to E5. So I'm not even gonna really hold you guys up. I want to let us get right back, get right into it. And there's gonna be some guests that come up. That
Yes, we'll
really
answer
excited.
questions. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I'm gonna let you start.
Who's gonna let me start?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you start.
Well, as always, I like, for those, in case those are new to the thing, I want to say Alafia, and in the Yoruba dialect, allegedly, we say Ekawa song, which means good afternoon. Yeah. What I would like to do, Sister Monica, our host, is I am an ascending master. And a lot of people have not maybe heard that around the communities, and they may have heard it, but I love to give etymology and definition. So if you don't mind, would you post up for the audience so they know, because this is my purpose and assignment in coming back. I've been back 13 times. And that may sound foolish, but that's my journey, and we've been proven through roots readings and remote writings that I am an ascending master, and my 13th time back. So let's let them know what is an ascending master. If you can post that up. Yeah. So happy to see my colleague on here from the Lagoon Metaphysical Temple there in Dallas, Texas. And as always, sister, I'd like for you to read that, so with those out there just looking at, this is what an ascending master is.
In many spiritual traditions, an ascended master is a spiritual being who has reached a high level of enlightenment and mastery, often after a process of spiritual transformation or ascension. They are believed to have lived on earth in physical form, but transcended the limitations of the physical body and ascended to a higher spiritual realms. Ascended masters are often seen as guides and teachers, offering guidance and support to humanity on its path of evolution and ascension. Ascended master.
Okay. And what it do is our job is to help people find themselves and get them to elevate it to the next level. So we're not about attacking no particular Igbe, anything. We're about the individual. Our job is when you left the ionosphere, coming from the celestial realm to the terrestrial realm, you came through many stages. And many times coming through many stages, you tend to lose your connection to your promise that you made in the ionosphere. So what our job is to come back and to help your spiritual guide to put you on your path so you can fulfill your purpose and your assignment. Everybody that left the ionosphere from the celestial realm, from the great council, came in the world with a divine purpose. Each of us' purpose was to come to make the earth, this world, a better place. Many times when we got here, we got misdirected. We got caught up in the buffoonery, got caught up in the luxury, and we tend to have lost our way. So our great creator, Older Madre, in her infinite wisdom, was able to point us in the right, gave us some help. And many times, this is where our ancestors come in at, this is where other spiritual guides come in at, and many different cultures and traditions have ways they use, but Ifa is the oldest philosophy known to mankind. We talk about 2.5 billion years ago. Now, the Igbo say they've been around 1.6 million years before Adam and Eve, so they couldn't be the lost tribe of Israel because there wasn't nobody called Israel 1.6 million years ago. I've had some mention, well, what the Igbos is the lost tribe. No, I'm gonna be the lost tribe. You say y'all been around 1.6 million years. Eve ain't but 5,000 or 6. Luckily, that's kindergarten cosmology. But let me go back. So the purpose of an ascending master is help the individual get on point. You can fulfill your destiny to help make this world a better place. And somewhere along the line, we fell out of alignment with the celestial realm and cosmology. So we're going to be getting into the calendar tonight, what it means, and not relying on somebody else. Well, maybe, Baba, does the calendar really matter? Yes, the calendar really matters. The timeline really matters. And if your timeline is off, everything you do is off. Ifa teaches us that it's only 28 days. And if you look at, I think it's 28 days is what it is based on the menstrual cycle, and 13 weeks or 13 cycles the moons go through. There are 13 constellations that govern this realm. Out of the 88 constellations, 13 governs this realm. You want to ask, well, why is that? Because number 13 is the feminine energy. It has lots. So the Pope, decided they didn't want it. So in 1582, Sister Monica, Pope Gregory commissioned a guy by the name Christopher Clavius to redo the calendar. He took it off the Julius Caesar calendar. Well, Julius Caesar had got his from the Egyptian, but when they found it was 13, at 13 months, they didn't want to deal with that feminine energy, so they knocked it down to 12. Then they brought in a thing called Eastern certain holiday. They brought in a couple of the gods named Genius and February and all that, but he was throwing everything out of balance. So in 46 BC, when Julius Caesar developed his calendar, they called it the Babylonian and all that, but it was Pope Gregory the 13th. You see that? Pope Gregory the 13th, 1582. What I like what people do, I want you to look up, it's called the History of the Zodiac or History of the Calendar. See if you can bring it, because we need to know what our problem is. And it starts read about here in 1582, the Gregorian calendar. You bring that up. Baba, you all right?
Yes, sir.
It's the year 25 because it's not, and it never was. This is a deep one, and only those whose magic lens is activated might grasp it. Time has been edited, deleted, and reset, not by accident, but by design. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII dropped the Gregorian calendar. It replaced Julius Caesar's Julian calendar. And guess what? 10 full days were deleted. Time was literally rewritten. Why? To realign with the sun, they said. But what else got realigned? Now here's where it gets insane. A theory called the phantom time hypothesis says 297 years were completely made up. Yeah, between 614 and 911 AD, possibly fake. If that's true, we're not in 2025. We're in 1728. Let that sink in. Ethiopia never played along. They're in 2017 right now. The Chinese? It's year 4722. Hebrews? 5785. The Mayans? On a whole different timeline. So what even is a year? And here's the twist. Ancient cultures followed a 13-moon calendar. 13 months, 28 days each. Perfectly synced with nature and the cosmos. But 13 was demonized, erased, because 13 represents the divine feminine, the lunar cycle, and balance. Too powerful to leave in play. So why mess with time? Because time is power. If you control time, you control history, identity, spiritual connection. You disconnect humans from nature and plug them into a system. We don't live by nature's time anymore. We live by the machines. And the more you wake up to that, the more you'll realize the clock is lying. If this shook something in you, repost and wake someone else up. And if you're new here, let's stay connected for more insights.
I want that to soak in. Bob, what do you think about that?
What do you mean?
What we just played, you know, and a lot of people don't realize that this is what the whole thing about this thing is, because it was the feminine energy, the female that really created the calendar, as we talked about a while back, sister. It was called the Lubumbo bone out of Lubumbo Mountain. But it wasn't the Julius Caesar and all of them. It was the African female who became the mathematicians that designed the first calendar around 43,000 BC. And she put it in line with the moon. Even in your Bible, the Bible tells you in Psalms 104, verse 19, that the moon is for the season and the sun for the setting, for setting. So, and now, and what we're looking at, if you're not in line with cosmology, you're not in line with your purpose. You know, there's a thing called permissive will and divine will. Most of us are traveling in what they call a permissive. We was learning, trying to find like a baby making baby stuff. But once you learn better, you must do better. And a lot of us have not been exposed to the learning better because we've been misled, misguided by those who were misguided by those before them. Therefore, we're on a bad track to reach our divine purpose. That's why we're stumbling and fumbling and bumbling and trying to find an identity. That's why we were sent back this time. And what happened, the beauty of this is, and let me slow down, I'm excited. Slow down, that no wars, nothing. It took a pandemic to shut this world down to get us a restart. Unplug, nothing moved. January 21st, 2000, the world came to almost a dead standstill. It was to bring us indigenous people that was in this diaspora to get realigned up with common, because it's going to take the indigenous people or the Cuban children descendants that's in the Americas to put the world back on track. There's a book that was written by Baba Ambambola, that Ifa to Mend a Broken World. I recommend you get that book. If anybody's going to fix it, it is not it's not going to be your traditions. It's not going to be your culture thing. It's going to take Ifa to line us back with the celestial realm to bring us in harmony with our Ori and our heart, our emotions and heart. And we're off.
I wanted to say real quick, welcome to the panel, Abundance Child. She is ENE5. She is an ENE5, and Oh, we have so just so you guys know, this is a Baba Yashabaya abundance, and this is Ogun Bami. What is your Ifa name again? Ian Ifa, what's your name in Ifa?
Yeah,
Abundance?
Ifa Wui, Ifa Korede, Gungun Funke.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she is what is it? What is your head? I'm sorry, I have a your head is who?
And Shay don't necessarily deal with heads, but one of my main Orisha, guardian Orisha, is Nana Baruku, out of my mother's maternal line.
Bro.
Nana Baruku, right?
Yeah,
So
Nana
I just
Baruch.
wanted to introduce her, but
Baruku, different names.
Olokun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nana Baruchu was a very powerful Orisha. I ran across that many years ago. They never gave her the respect that she do because a lot of people don't know her, but they even try to try to tie her to Baphomet, but that's you got to go beyond that. And I know she nodded here, so yeah, I love her, and I she got that. That's my girl. I'm serious. Oh God, when I met her, she ain't nobody's joke. Seriously, and a lot of folks never heard of Nana Baruchu, but trust me, Mama don't play.
Yes,
Mama don't play. Uh,
yes.
so welcome aboard, Abundance Child. Yes.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sharing the space.
Yeah. No. So what we try to do now is uh, the problem that we're having is it's our time, but we're so diverse in cultures and traditions and all that. We have misunderstood the power and the concern of Ifa. Ifa is the communication of all cultures. It ties us, it connects us, but we made it into a what you call more a liability more than it is an asset. We tie all these initiations and you got to do this and you got to do that. That's for those houses. That is not Ifa. Ifa is for communication. It's about you and the individual, your character, and you fulfilling your purpose. So I always tell people, I don't practice no particular culture. I'm a universal being because I'm an ascending master. And my job is to come here and how to correct the wrong that's been misled because when issue came in the world, his job was to try and test your character. Issue is the master teacher, he's the master tester. And he'll make you prove what you say. But so we don't have no devil in it. If I tell everybody, you want to learn Ifa, learn first the 16 principles of Ifa, you know. And I want to say this before I get too far. One of the things we did as black people, and now we had to go back and try to create a substitute, and you can agree or disagree. But many years ago, you could walk into any black home, and we had pictures of grandma and great grandma and Uncle Waldman on the wall. In the 70s, we took them down and put up JFK, Jesus, and Martin.
Yeah.
Put for Uncle and Auntie in a book like in the nursing home and put away. So when the kids come in, they didn't know them. But back in the day, we could walk in any house. But Mama, who was this? Well, this is your great so and so and so. That's the one we should have. We're trying to build these shrines, but the shrine y'all have, it should be throughout your house. When people come in, they can ask you about certain members and what do they do and how they fit in. But if out of sight, out of mind. So we took and swapped out the originality for an imitation. And I tell you about it. That's what I love about Ifa. We carry these people in our being. I recommend the book by Gene Whippler. Let me get it so you know what it looked like. That okay? I'm going off camera for a second. That all right?
Sure,
All
sure,
right?
Baba. You good? You're good. You're good.
You know I'm known for that. Yeah,
Right, you got to go get. Look, you got 1,500 books. I know you're gonna have to go grab. Look, and watch everybody look at how pristine his books are. They be like 100 years old and don't even have a scratch on them.
Yeah, just give me a minute.
The camera's way too close on me.
I got one more to get. Just bear along with me.
But you know what they say? If you want to hide something from a black person, you put it into a book. I think we need to like change that whole stereotype about ourselves. because all we do is hear people talk about what book they read on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody over here ain't read no book. So if you're gonna be over here at alchemizing energy, we're gonna give you some books to read. It ain't always gonna be a Google search, Wikipedia. No, you gotta go get a book and read the book. You know. So people read books over here, okay? And they have libraries. Look behind him; he has like 1,500 books. And there's gonna become a time where we're gonna wish that we had a library of books to read. And didn't just rely on this internet to tell us whatever lies is sometimes because see the internet can lie to you. You'll be reading something that could be completely just false, you know, and you can't tell because at least in the library they have the nonfiction section and the fiction section. You go on a page, you don't know whether it's nonfiction or fiction. So you
I
just
go.
reading something. Yeah, go ahead.
That's an interesting thing that you would say that, because who's right?
Right. Even the books could be lying. They had books. They went into our culture and looked at all these deities and ancestors that we had, and those are the books that said that Eshu is the devil, is Satan, and we have been running with that. Even our own people.
Oh well,
So who's right?
right? Who's right? The books or the I don't know. Right. Okay.
Well,
So
that's to Baba's point. That's to Baba's point. Where we are in our evolution, especially in what people call the diaspora, it's all about initiations and ilekes and I feel like the worldly aspect of Ifa and not necessarily, like he said, the communication aspect. So if you were dealing with the communication aspect, you would definitely have to start with Ori. And that means that you have to go within. And a lot of people don't teach Ifa, or they don't teach Orisha cosmology, starting with self. We are taught to look outside of ourselves in the same way that we were taught in the church to look outside of ourselves for Jesus Christ, not understanding that the Christ consciousness starts within. As he was talking about when he was breaking down 1 Corinthians chapters 40 through like I think 59, when I started reading and doing my own research, it was talking about how we are celestial bodies that are here in a masquerade and are animating these vessels. And that is the Ori, is the Christ consciousness that they were speaking about. The atom is the atom. This is in the hydrogen, the like I was speaking about yesterday, in the periodic element. So I absolutely agree. How could we possibly know who's right? You know how we know who's right? When everything is a high holy representation of Oludumare, by working with your Ori. That's the only way you can know.
I say. Well said,
say.
sister. Well said.
Thank you.
This one.
That is a great book. Yes. Yes. I'm a bibliophile, so trust me, I have books. I have books.
Love you, my sister. Love you.
Love you.
Well, she put this together back in 72 and 73. And she gets into a lot of it. And a lot of things she was saying, well,
You
we
gotta tell
don't
people
do.
what it is, Baba. You
Huh?
just put it up. You gotta tell people what book that is.
This is Santero, African American in Latin America. Her name is Jean Whippler. She was initiated back in the late 60s, 70s over in Oremo. And it's been published. And I try to get into all that because I'll lose my train of thought, but she give you the whole breakdown. And I recommend you get this book because there's a lot of us, when Ifa came to America, we came through Santero, we came through Lukumi, And as I asked the guy the night, do the etymology. When was Santeria born, and where did it come from? What is the origin of it? When I got to dealing with the Padrinos and all that, he said, man, this came out of Africa. It came from Ifa. Well, I said, why am I gonna play with the child when I can go to the parent? So I started looking for the owner of the mystery rather than the child of the mystery. And I began to buy books and things. So I've got a plus maybe 1,500 or better. in my library of all subjects, everything from aardvark to zebra, you know, and we studied all these things. And when I got into IFA, I put a lot of money into IFA. But Baba can tell you, I've got a library. I mean, I got a serious library. And what I found, but what woke me up, forgive me, what woke me up was in 2000 when we had this celestial alignment of Saturn and Jupiter. You recall my
And when I was trying to take some of your notes.
it was December 21st, 2000, during the pandemic. That was a special alignment that had not happened in 800 years. And it was of Obatala and another, but at that time a portal opened up. And I was brought to the forefront and told me to go back and create the 13-month calendar because we had lost our focus. We've been chasing behind the oppressor's concept of cosmology, which was already out of alignment, as the video showed a while ago. The average white person know this thing is jacked up, but they don't lost where to go to get it fixed. We know where to get it fixed, but they don't, and they're out there perpetrating, pretending why we got all these people getting into so-called Ifa, and they're getting into various customs and traditions that's not Ifa.
It's true.
Ifa is the communication device. It ain't got nothing to do with how many ducks you killed and how many rivers you jumped through and how many fire bombs, how many you can put in the ground and how many times you can spin around and how long can you stand on your head or how many lines. It ain't about that. You know, it's about you, your character, building up your celestial side to bring balance with your terrestrial side. We are a celestial being having a terrestrial experience, a celestial experience in a terrestrial world. We came from the ionosphere, the biosphere, the technosphere. Now we're in the thing called, what they call this new thing we into, that came up with Zuckerberg. It dropped our vibration from A440 down to 2. Right now we're vibing in an artificial matrix. And I want to lay this on. There's a thing called the law of time. Sister Monica, don't you have the calendar that I sent you? Sister Monica, no, open it up and go to the next page. It's called the law of time. The law of time. It should be the next page. See, what we don't realize, it was you sisters that created the calendar.
I gotta run and grab the actual thing. Hold on one second, but I did also wanted to show this while I go and grab that book. Let me just show this real quick too.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys realize this, but if you look at a turtle's shell.
Turtle shell, that's right. It's 28 around the edge, and it's actually 13 months, 28 days. Well, that's all throughout the book. Even the Native Americans, the lunar calendar have 364 days in it. And we're playing with ourselves. You know, that's serious. The Hopi Indians in Arizona, I learned that from them when I was out there with the Hopi Indians in Arizona. They practice the 1328. Yep. That's also as a frequency. We're on what they call the 60 minute clock. I think it's 60. What is it? 1260. 12 hour, 1260 frequency. That's what we're on. And we're going to get to that. And why is this important? Because when you go to get your readings and they ask you for your birthday and your mama's last name and you're going to bill, if it's off, your reading's going to be off. But because of a lack of understanding, the grace of the cosmos will let us survive in a permissive environment. At some point in time, we'll come to what, like the say, to a divine crossing. You'll make a decision and bam, you're on point. Then your life begin to fall. But until then, it's hit and miss, up and down, hit and miss, until you finally wake up one day, either through a dream, or vision, or an encounter. Say, wait a minute, something is wrong, And when you realize that, your will open up and be taking data. You will begin to overstand and see things in a whole nother light. I want that to soak in. It takes someone to come along or something to come along that will shock you to realize that something is wrong. Then all of a sudden things begin to resonate with you. I'm trying to give somebody, my sister looking down. All right. So what do you have, Sister Monica?
Okay. I'm trying to, you want me to show the
She
actual
looking for. She looking
I'm
for a
sorry,
book.
I
I
have
think
the book. I
Monica.
got the book right here, but I just don't know what you want me to show it or you want me to.
Yeah, I want you to read. There's another book that you. All right, Button Child.
Yes, that's by the same person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yep, it is. That's by the same person. I was trying to put some of these things in the chat for people. I think that's the one that's the Santeria experience, right?
Yeah.
I gotta do so much to connect. I'm just trying to chat.
and I ain't touched the surface. I mean, I ain't even cracked the edge yet. That's just some stuff we, and there's more. Then there's Santeria spells and magic by Whippler, and it goes on and on. But don't want to get too far out there. But I want to look at it's called the law of time. This is important because that's why the world's in shape it now, because we're so we're living in this false matrix, even with Donald Trump and all that. Everything is going because we're living in a false illusion. And therefore, but not only that, but the world is in judgment because this man is doing things that should have been did a long time ago. We're putting it to the test. And now they're kicking back. What do you have, Sister Monica?
Okay, I have the book. My camera's acting stupid, so it says it's on standby, but
I want you to get your calendar. It should be on just you open it up, it should say the law of time.
okay.
And why is it important?
The law of time. All right, the law of time is a universal law and principle. It states that time is the universal factor of synchronization. The law of time distinguishes between a natural timing frequency that governs the universal order and an artificial timing frequency which sets modern human civilization apart from the rest of its environment and biosphere.
Okay.
The effect of basing a civilization on the artificial timing factors and a regular calendar and the mechanical clock has resulted in the creation of an artificial globe matrix, the technosphere. By consuming natural resources faster than they could be replaced and creating more waste than can be eliminated. The technosphere operates at the expense of the biosphere, hence the current global crisis. The law of time affirms that all of the planetary upheaval and social chaos that we are experiencing today are directly related to giving precedence to human laws and machine technology rather than divine order and natural law. This is due to living a collective misperception of time known as 1260 frequency. This refers to the 12-month cycle, the irregular Gregorian calendar paced by the 60-minute clock. Living in artificial time disconnects us both as a species and individually from our true nature. We always feel like we never have enough time. And the 1260 frequency time is money, and the 1328 frequency time is art.
So what do you think about that?
I agree.
And that's why things are jacked up. So it's imperative that we get back to the original. Thank you, my sister. And that's why we're here today. It wasn't by happenstance. We're here today with this energy because people need help. We got more mental illness, all because we're out of balance. We got more people doing crazy stuff because they can't find the balance. Well, the answer to your problem lies within the communication factor, being able to contact the celestial realm to get your guidance. E5 is a binary system, metaphysical mathematical algorithm, the Divnation system that was used by our ancestors many millennia, the way I'm reading it, considered a master database of the indigenous knowledge encompassed in their divination system. As a binary system, Ifa has been known in Africa under many variations, which all have their cultural applications that are based on local ethnicity. Ifa is a living tradition that can grow and thrive under many different ethnic groups and locations. Its ability to thrive is based on the universal appeal to African diaspora as connecting point for the ancestral legacy and forefather mother. It oftentimes continues the legacy of generation. Ifa appeals to nature and spiritual support of our lives, established by the desirable path of growing in enlightenment. It's about, so it ain't about what house you join. It's about your personal relationship. And the way you get it, you must know some form of divination or some form to contact with. Your words alone is not enough. Your praying is not alone. You got to get a direct contact. There is in the Bible, I think it's in Hosea 9, he said, I will give you a language to communicate me with, a divine language. Well, that is geometry. It is mathematics. It is not your words, because everything is built on geometry or on the vibration and frequencies. I want that to soak in. You can get on your knees and pray till you're blue in the face. That goes out. But what is the communication? Why? And I'm gonna go. I gotta go here because we got 6.9 billion folks that believes in the Bible. They believe the Bible. Why would the God of the Bible give the Israelite a divination system if prayer was the major answer? You just gonna use and pray, Sister Abundant Child. I love your smile.
Oh, thank you.
Why would the God of Israel give them a divination system if prayer was the only thing? And then give the power to the priest to know the order of things and how to do it. Exodus, the 28th chapter. That he gave to them a thing called Urim Theorem. Pull it up, Monica. The Urim Theorem. And it was to get yes and no answers. When you ever had problems, you would go and you would divine with this. Why did King David, when he got in trouble, they about to stone him to death in 1 Samuel, and he went to the priest and got the ephod. The ephod is another form of the Pele chain. When I studied the rabbinical order, I said, and they said it don't exist. I say bullshit. I said, no, Rabbi, bullshit. And I brought it out. Here we go. Urim Theorem. Come on, Sister Monica, help me out, baby.
Yeah.
In the Hebrew Bible, the Urim, the Urim, and the Thummim or Thummim, perfection or truth, are elements of the Hoshin, the blessed plate worn by the high priest attached to the ephod, a type of apron or garment. The pair are used frequently in the Old Testament in Exodus 28:30 through God's instruction to Aaron on how to adorn his breastplate worn in the holy place. In 1 Samuel in 14:41 by King Saul to determine who was at fault for breaking the army's fast. In Ezra 2 to determine whether those who claimed to be the descendants of the priests of Israel were truly of that class. Urim Thummim are sometimes connected by scholars with cleromancy, with divination by casting lots. There's this. See, someone added this. Although it's equal, let me tell you something about Wikipedia. Sometimes people, because this is written by people, they'll try to add their own opinion.
Go to Wikipedia, but I want them to see because every religion.
No, I'm saying this is Wikipedia, and they tried to add that it's likely no casting was physically done.
Yeah, no, we know that's bunk. We know that's bunk. Okay.
They casted lots. Come on now. So I was going to just say that. Okay.
So the thing about it is, they got a thing called Preem in the Bible in the book of Ruth, where she casted a lot to determine how to outmaneuver the enemy from destroying their families. They also casted lots at the crucifixion of Jesus. and it was a black man whose name was Simon of Syria from the area called Niger. Y'all call it Niger. I call it nigger. In Africa, at one time, the whole thing was called nigger. Y'all call it Niger. When the French took over and split it up, the French called their part Nigeria, and and one called the nigger. I think it was the British and French, but it was all one mass. But these were the priests at Antioch, who was the high priest, and they the one that named the so-called children from the where we go. Oh boy, let me go back. What I do? What I do? Hold on, we got a problem. I touched the button. I did that.
We can still hear you, so don't worry. We can still hear you.
I touched the button, and that's me.
Don't mess with your flow, brother. Don't mess with your flow.
What was I? No, I got. His name was Simon of Syria, who was at the cross. They carried the cross with Jesus, and he was the one that told him about divining for the cloth. The word divining means to cast. They cast lots. They didn't pull no damn straws. They used a process that we used by all of them, and they were the first one where the word Christian shows up in Acts 11:26. It was the niggers from Antioch that named the white boy from the Isle of Crete of leprosy, which means First Titus 1:12. First Titus. I do this because we got these Bible thumpers out there, and you run around, don't realize that a lot of the things you talk about, it's in the book. So and there's no attack. This is facts. We called them Cretans. They later changed it to Christians from the word Christos, but the word Christ is from the word etymology word Messiah. Messiah means to anoint. Anything you anoint was considered a Christ. And the problem came in, and you notice at the cross, I got up on this. That's why I'm going. They came from JC to Christ. Christ is a damn title.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And you bow down to, I believe in Christ. No, you believe in the anointing. What's the anointing you believe in? Which one? Blood or all? One.
The Babylao, like the Hebrew high priest was really supposed to be more like a Babylao. And what happened, like I said yesterday, in a lot of these systems, they took out the actual communication and tried to sell a story about this extra thing outside of us, and that aspect was lost. And so they needed it for power and control so that they can create time, because even in Morse Divine National Movement, I learned time never was when man was not.
Right.
So
okay.
Time never was when man was not.
Because time was designed for man.
So
it was designed for, and because that's somewhere where one certain places time has no factor. We go back to what we're talking about now. So our problem that we're having that we got to straighten out in there, we got so much added baggage to what they call the Ephah that's not Ephah. These are customs and traditions. But you want to get to the real matter. If I want to be able to communicate with my ancestors, one thing Whippler said, and I'm pretty sure the sister can agree. She said it comes a time when we have to invoke our ancestors. We have to invoke the energy, not invocate, but invoke. What do you mean by invoke? And this is no attack on those that have them, fine. I don't have a shrine set up in a special place where I got to go sit down and talk to my ancestors. Why? Because I am that shrine. I represent that fact. When I go out and do bad, I'm making the name bad on my family. What they say about this thing with Shadora? He's not going to offend the name, because to us the name is important. You don't mess up the family name, man. I don't give a what you do. Don't. And that name carries a value. When you go out, you represent that particular family lineage. You know, when they go and do a DNA, they don't come to your altar and get your bloodline. They draw your blood. They go back all the way back to 13 and 14 generations. You carry that same power because you're connected. Sometimes we'll let superficial things tie us down and imprison us when we need to be free to flow. Like I told my sister, if you're in prison and that 4x6 Where you gonna set it up at? What you gonna do? You gotta find an alternative way to stay. Your mind and heart is the key because your memory brings back all the things that Aunt Susan, Uncle Bojack, and Uncle Bowleg, and cousin Horseshoe, and all them come back to memory. What I love about the story of with the Armor Star, the brother said, whenever the Mendy's in trouble, we didn't pray to him, we invoke our ancestors to come into us to help me. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how powerful that is? What initiation did he go to do that? It's natural. She talks about it. We have natural ways of getting things done. But a lot of times we tend to limit ourselves based on what other people say how it's supposed to be done. You can't tell me how to communicate with my ancestors, but Ifa can. Why? There's a system. You can ask questions and get direct answers. I live in a town called Tallulah, Louisiana. Estimated population 7,883 people. And damn it, everybody here, black and white, know who I am. They call me the old voodoo man. If he say something, he said, if he tell you something, if he tell you chicken dip stuff, look on his wing and find the box. That old man ain't missed. And I've been here 13 years. You know why? I said, because I divine. Whenever they got a problem, I go and I divine. Look, and this happened, baby. I carry my little bag with my 4 shells and stuff in it, like American Express. Even when I'm out doing business, I have them with me. You know, I tell you, when I was buying trucks, I always divine and ask, is this truck I need to get or not? Man, one day, Ifa saved me about $50,000. I was about to buy a truck, and you know, and my God said, you better divine. I thought I divine man says no. And I tried again, they said no. And if they say no twice, don't ask no more.
Man, wait, so you be at the bank like trying to get a loan, and all of a sudden in front of the loan officer, you're like, hold on 1 second, let me look at you, and then just throw down like
yes, ma'am.
in front of the loan officer.
Yes, ma'am. And they look at me like, what you doing? So I'm checking with my source.
That's good.
I do the same thing.
All right now.
I do the same thing. I will be at a festival. I remember I went to go get this throne that I have over here, right? Because it came down in a reading that I need to have a seat that nobody else sits on,
right?
And be talking to my ancestors and talking to my Ori, and that nobody else can sit on this because in heaven I'm on a throne. So as above, so below. So I saw this seat and I said, brother, can I sit on this seat? And he was like, yeah, I ain't been letting no. He was telling everybody no. But when I came up, I was like, brother, I just need to sit on this seat because I really think I need this seat. He was like, go ahead, sister. But he had told everybody else no. And I said, Nana, give me my shells. So I pulled out my shells and I started asking questions. And I was like, who's Ifa is speaking? Ifa is like, that's your chair. I said, well, how much should I offer it? Like $5,000? Because back then I had that kind of money. And he was like, no. Then it was no. You know what I'm saying? It was all no. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop there. And then I said, I don't mean no disrespect, but can I ask some more questions to see how much I need to pay? I said, is it lower than 5? Yes. Is it lower than 4? Yes. Is it lower than 3? Yes. Can I get it for 2,500? Yes. He tried to give it to me for 3,500. I said, I checked for my source that this chair is mine. It's 2,500. He said, it's yours, sister. I sat on that chair and I was just sitting on that chair. Do you know when I looked up, there was a line of people coming and bowing down, and I'm like, hey, I'm just here getting that chair. They're like, no, we thought like you belong with the chair. It was crazy. But I'm known to do that in the grocery store. I'm known to just stop no matter what. Any important decision in our life, we are taught you must divine on it.
That's right. And I tell people, in all thy ways acknowledge Ifa, and Ifa will direct your path. I tell them that.
Why do you think it was so important to take away that divination in the Bible? Why do you think the biblical things said.
Well, but what they don't
Takes away our
understand,
power.
sister. No, what they don't understand, sister. The God that they serve is jealous. He said, if you're gonna divine only to me. Don't divine to nobody else. That's what the problem is. They didn't say you can't divine. Just don't divine to nobody else if you're gonna be divining to me. And that God is jealous. So look, if you want me to help you, you gotta stick with me. Otherwise, move on. Because otherwise, if it didn't work, why was Saul able to call up the unfamiliar spirit and they would come from the grave up and talk to him if it didn't work? Why everybody else, why did the donkey warn them about the flaming sword? Everybody had a divination system back then. And they
Wait,
used it.
did God become jealous before or after all these other things happened?
He's been jealous all the time. That God been jealous all the time.
That's how they wrote it.
Yes,
So they
he got so jealous. Look, he got so jealous. He killed 22,000 folks for bowing down to a golden cow. I mean, come on. Come on, people. Yeah. You got to understand. He says, I am a jealous God. As a matter of fact, in the Ten Commandments, he said, thou shalt have no other power before me. That's the first step of sign he's jealous. Don't come here talking about nobody else but me. If you do, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem. And that's where it come in at. But they don't want to see it like that. It's 330,000 different gods on this planet. You hear what I said? God. I didn't say creator. I said God. There's a difference. It's 330,000 God before Jehovah. There's a book out called 30,000 God before Jehovah. 16 crucified Savior by Kershaw Gray said you got 16 folks that were just like Jesus, or like a Jesus figure that supposed to die on the cross. Jesus didn't die for nobody's sin. He died for insurrection, allegedly, because he didn't die. They said he skipped on out, went on down in Asia and got married, had a family. We ain't gonna get up and all of that. Back to what we're talking about. So I don't want to piss these folks off about their God, because I got the book on it. It's called Pastor.
Got the book, right?
What's the book called? Because I don't think I have that one.
It's called the Passover Plot by E.J. Schoenfield. The Passover Plot by E.J. Schoenfield.
Okay.
Okay. He tells the whole breakdown, the marital life and all, because he got married and had children. Because if you're not married, you cannot stand up in, Passover Plot, and you cannot operate in the temple if you're not married. You can't give advice to married folks if you ain't married. And that's a part of the Jewish customs.
It's true. I'll take that one.
I don't.
You go ahead, Barbara.
Anybody ever wondered why the Quran and wonder why the Bible carries so much power and respect that a person would not dare read something that speaks contrary to it if they believe in it? Anybody ever wondered why is that? I mean, there are mountains of books that dispel just about any religion, but you ever wonder why those two books, if people believe in them, I don't care what you bring them, I don't care what kind of documentation you bring them, I don't care what kind of historical facts you bring them, they still would not leave those two books. You ever wondered why?
You ever wonder why they don't want to leave those books, but then break every law within the book? Like,
thank you. That too.
I don't want to read no other book, but I'm gonna break all the commandments.
Well, there's grace, so there's grace, so there's grace and mercy, So and Jesus took all my sins. But
see, they don't realize, and in that book is 613 laws, not 10. They have 613 laws in that. That's in the Torah and the Tanakh. The reason, because I studied with them, and they made sure that I understood. For everything that they do business, they've got a law and a process. And I studied with the White Rabbinical Order out of Dallas, out there on Hillcrest, called Temple Emmanuel. And my rabbi was the 32nd. No, he was I think the 11th letter of the Alabayah, because every rabbi carries one of those alphabets that you find in Psalms 119. and we're way off the subject on this, but we thought best we talk, we're gonna talk.
I'm like,
We're gonna talk because I've been there, I've traveled, I was told to go there when I first came into the knowledge, and they let me know what my assignment was. And I began to travel. And in doing so, you know why? You know why that the Bible, that the King James is so powerful? Because it's written on a particular music note called the G note. Jesus. That ain't, you said Jesus, you said G.
God, my head is splitting right now. Like, thank you so much for this conversation. This is my kind of conversation. And we don't have any such conversation.
And remember, the Quran fall right out behind that same frequency.
Yes.
It's built on the frequency. People get chill bumps if they so go through spasmodic changes.
But it's okay. You know what? Now I'm gonna say the scam channel.
I'm sorry, we y'all got off, but I'm watching my sister and she going like, "Whoa!"
No, because some of the stuff I am like, it's way over my head. I'm just glad I can go back.
I know you get tired of things. Wait a minute. So that's why.
Some of the stuff I'm in direct alignment. I literally am married to a music life coach. Like somebody who says life is music, everything is frequency, and he makes us chant these things as a part of his alignment program. And I'm just like,
and you notice that lately it's finally coming out with this movie, The Sinners. They're starting to get into this, how the music and the vibration, and and really telling that story. And it's interesting that for the longest time they weren't letting Black directors really put our movies out like that. They weren't funding them, and then all of a sudden, with this new age, they're allowing Black directors to do this, and then they're allowing them to do a movie like this.
Can't survive without us. Period. So it's going to start showing up on the big screen as we are coming into our financial power. It's not going to be able to be stopped.
When you have a chance, my beloved sisters, ask your husband. When did they change the frequency from the A from a middle CG to A440? When did they change the music frequency from, because the piano was tuned at middle C, and they changed it from middle C to A440?
When? He said he doesn't know exactly when.
1970 when they changed it.
Right before we came in place. He said 1970,
1970. And they went from, then we went from natural to synthesizers. From synthesizers.
Yeah, he said that. He said synthesizer, yep.
Yeah, right. Boom.
Yeah.
And that changed the whole frequency in the Bible, because now we're on an artificial matrix. Even the music is artificial.
What's interesting is he came in around that time, and his mother was a pastor of a church. He's 12 of 16 children, and he's the one that came in with the music, the voice.
Well, tell him probably the preacher, when he go to pray and bring the organ in, and you got to hit that certain note, and everybody goes off into a tinge. It's because of that frequency.
Oh, my friend, my mentor, Mike Banks, told me he used to be an organ player for church. He said, man, the people dance on the drum, on the blue, on the black keys. They dance on the black keys and they cry on the black keys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the thing about it ain't as much as that. Is that when you get in those particular majors and minors, right? It's only 3 major keys in the church that you get into it. That when on the keyboard is playing, especially the organ and the drum, and don't let it be a B3 or C3 Hammond with them Leslies on it. You're gonna tap the church. When I do slide across there and hit that Leslie and flip that button, and it goes in that swirl, the church gonna come apart. Boom.
Yeah, I've literally, as a child, I literally seen with that pastor preaching in that organ, people being thrown from one place to the other. You understand?
Right. I mean, it's just a power, man.
Yes, the music.
48 years.
Yeah.
Our pastor, I know about it. 48 years. And most musicians know the preacher's key. And when they get to that part and start humming, they slide right into it.
Oh,
next
right. That's when they go down.
Up there, that cross, and don't let it be a Hammond. Don't let it be a Hammond B3 or C3 Hammond organ. They're gonna tear up the church and got a good drummer. Oh,
Oh
man, it's
yes.
over.
Oh yes.
It's
Oh
over.
yes. It's
It's
over.
over.
It's over.
It's over.
Once that drum and that bass,
Oh yeah, because we built on the bass clef.
yeah.
Black, we're built on that bass clef. White folks on the treble clef. Once you hit that note, it's all over.
It's over.
My daddy, a
Yeah.
bass player.
Mm.
They
I'm a
showed
drummer.
it in the movie in part in Cadillac Records.
Yeah.
Howlin', what is it?
Howlin' Wolf. That's right.
Howlin'
Howlin' Wolf. Yes.
Howlin' Wolf
Mhm.
being that baritone who drove the women crazy. Now
That's
we see
right.
it outside. Now this
Right.
I can imagine what was going on the inside of them women
Inside,
for
yeah.
them to be acting like that. It's like they were controlled.
Well,
He
it
had
is
a-
because you know when BB King get that little E on Lucille and tingle it, they have tears, but boy, look at I seen dude break down and cry.
Mhm.
You know, it has such an impact. Why are we talking about that? The same thing with music in the religions, and even some of these things you go to, it has an impact in our spirit that controls things. Yeah.
And
And
then
that's
they'll
a
say,
fact.
well, the person getting mounted. They get
Huh?
mounted by that spirit of
And
that
that's
drum.
what happens. That's
But
where
that's a
possession comes.
talking drum.
That's
Yes.
where
Yeah,
the
that's a
possession
talking.
comes in. And I've seen people go off in the so-called tongues, and I've seen the devil talk through them.
Because ain't
It's
no
called,
Holy
it's
Spirit.
called demon spirits. And they start talking, and they take over the bar. I mean, they be jumping over the benches, sliding under the benches. I seen a lady throw a child across the room one night in church in a revival I was in. She throw the baby up. The baby went across the room. The lady and never got hurt, and she was just dancing, but she was gone. Baby gone out the arm, and she just tapped the floor. I said, "Damn."
She threw a baby across the room, and someone
Yes,
caught the
ma'am.
baby, and then she started
She got
dancing.
so happy she threw her hands up. The baby flew across the room. She got to dancing, and the baby never got hurt.
Wow. What do you
It's
think
a
about when they have the snakes and they're doing that ritual with the snakes and the music?
That's in West Virginia. That's those snake chump. But I'm talking about in the Holiness Church, which was one of the #1 leading Pentecostal movements in the Black community, the Church of God in Christ. I was a member before I left out of it under Dad Mason. Dad Mason was known as the root man because he dealt with roots and spells. Little short guy about 4'11". You know, he was known, and we had a place in Memphis headquarters. I watched this thing grow over the years. It got so bad, and then just after something, I'm gonna get back to the subject, that at that time under William J. Seymour, which in 1906 on Azusa Street, brought in the African spirit they called the Holy Ghost. All the Holy Ghost is that it's possession that brought back from Africa when he went over there, a possession or being what you call being it comes into you and takes over. I've seen many things happen.
No, it's
Many
called
things happen.
mounting, right? Getting mounted. That's why
It got
they
mounted.
gallop,
And many times
galloping like a horse.
that so-called noise, if you listen to it, it is a language out of Africa. That ba 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 ba, all that. If you listen very careful, and I begin to hear some of the same words. Not only that, I've seen things happen. I've been a part of things that happen. I've seen bones retreat back into the skin while the music was going on. I mean, I've seen these things. Not her. I was there. I was a part of it. I also, these call me the #1 demon fighter. I was casting out demons back in the 70s, man. You know, I was traveling around the country. I was number 10 on the Evangelist Road. They call me the man that cast out the demons. And I knew him by name. This thing is real. But see, once you leave that particular realm, you get into that other realm. That's when things begin to get what? Fake. And that music is the key.
Absolutely.
Choirs are so big. And see, what people don't realize, and this is no attack. This is why you have so much homosexuality present in a lot of these choirs. Because Lucifer was a master musician. Nobody had pipes like him. That's in the book.
Right,
You know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So what
until
do you
we
think
get back to
that
this.
story is really meaning? Do you mean that okay, the Lucifer? So let's break down that story, because
But what
people.
Lucifer means a barrel of light, it's nothing evil about it. Matter of fact, you get the devil and Satan mixed up because the word devil only means adversary. Lucifer was a bright and morning star. Okay, he was considered wise and enlightened. That allegedly that he got so caught up in himself that he wanted to be better than God in the Bible, the biblical story. Now I'm with the biblical narrative, but it's deeper than that, because if you ask the average Christian, how many angels is it in the Bible that's listed in the Bible? How many? They can only name you a couple of them. But every individual in there had a guardian angel that traveled with it, according to the book.
And I think if you break down that whole Lucifer thing, it's really
But the
pretty
whole
much
Lucifer,
saying that music itself
remember this.
has the ability to try to replace God and this, that, the other in certain
See,
ways.
that's the story they tell. So if that's the case, I don't know why we off on this. I don't. What my brother said there is that, and my Israelite brothers. Oh man, I'm gonna use their well. Hey, help them, Jesus. Hey, help them. They got it all twisted because we, for many years, was trying to find an identity, and in search for an identity, we joined every little cult, everything to get an identity when you didn't need it. You already had it. So we went from being from Muslims, you name it, looking for an identity. Matter of fact, Jesse Jackson put us through a major change. Do you know what that was? Jesse Jackson, when he come up to Rainbow Coalition, and he started, him and Al Sharpton, they started giving us names. Which one did they tattoo my brother? He know. He's been laughing. Okay, where do you think what African American came from? Jesse Jackson.
Afro American. Yep.
Yep. He went from the Afro cone to where African American, the Africans in America, went through the whole phase.
That's crazy.
Everybody names African American. How you gonna be conquered twice? Both names are conquered names. You want around here with, and you wonder why your life is jacked up. Double yoked, because Africa's a conquered name, and America's a conquered name, and you wearing all these conquered names. You think you're gonna be blessed? Do you? And then let me shift here. A few years ago, and I got to get back to this because I'm excited. You sisters and brothers start using a word called what? That's my boo. That's my boo. Love my boo. Do you not know you was cursing that whole breed? Because any far, you cannot use that word. It's called I do boo. And the deity behind is called Elenini. That's the energy behind that. That means that is the deity of misfortune. Did you not know that? Every time I tell my boo, I just send misfortune their way. Then you wonder why you're alive as a damn wreck. Because we're living in a state of ignorance, and we just say things without doing the research. Always do the etymology on things before you start saying, because you'll be surprised what it means.
I go.
Oh, you go. You definitely go.
You were making mention about Lucifer, and making mention about devil, adversary, and what was the other word you said regarding Satan?
What Satan?
Satan. So
yeah,
the same way you have a whole bunch of schools of thought on what those words mean. If the average person will look the etymology up of those words, like devil, all it means is lie. That's no shit, no fabulous, no to it. It only means lie. You look up adversary, and yes, I mean, you look up devil, it does mean adversary. You look up enemy, and it does mean that. Enemy. Your job is to fight against the lies that are bought by the enemy, which is your adversary.
Yeah.
So in order for you to get light from the light bearer, which they consider Lucifer, is to get knowledge in so you can have light or knowledge to fight the adversary or the devil and walk in unity and balance. That is what that really means in a mental note. The word angel, you look it up, it means angles. There are different angles at looking at truth. But most folks, they just take the messenger aspect of it. You get it? The messenger, it gives you messages. Angels, different way of looking at knowledge, gives you messages. So the Bible has all sorts of little hidden truths that actually do point inward. But no, they don't want you to, we can't have that. We can't have that. We need you to be focused out here. We don't need you to be focusing here. You need you out here.
You got to look beyond
enemy is
yourself,
out here.
because that's what the control is. As long as
Indeed.
you looking beyond yourself, I can control you.
Indeed.
Never
I've
look to the
taught my
enemy.
children a long time ago. No, baby. The only enemy is that one that's right on in here. This is
More than one you pass around.
Yep. Look in the mirror.
That's it. That's your enemy.
You know, and then I want to move on just a minute, but one of the most bastardized language and languages of spell casting is English, not English.
Yes.
English.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
You know, if we take certain words and run with it and don't know what it means, well, God bless you. Do you know what bless means?
Yeah, no, don't tell me that one. Don't tell me that. Yeah, keep that.
What?
I just look upside their head when they say that.
No. Look it up. You say, what does the word bless mean?
To be dipped in blood.
Be dipped in blood. Be consecrated in blood.
Yes,
see, I've been turning it around because you have to meet people where they're at. So a lot of times I get it. And so I understand that the Yoruba word for alchemy is ebo. And the highest form of, so I have to turn it around because just like anytime I walk into the church, I know what I'm turning it into. So I have to understand as an alchemy myself that everybody is not on the same evolutionary.
I say.
Well, but like I said, but remember this: you have the ability to do that. Some people don't just you don't know. That's like you say, and we had to stop doing this. You tell Johnny, you go to school today and have a nice day. You tell that boy go to school and act a damn fool.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice is another word. That's why I'm so glad I went through more science and more divine and national movement. It was such an emphasis on etymology. So I understand why my destiny changed that way. It wasn't for me to stay in that realm and get stuck there in that box. It was to learn these things that I would not probably have access to anywhere else.
I say.
And that's what I talk about time when we had a school in Dallas and we taught etymology, timeline, chronology, and linguistics and agriculture. Those are the 5 things you look at.
I say. You, Baba, isn't that because the average research on etymology, it always will stop you at Latin, so Latin or Greek, so you can't go any further.
Yeah.
But we would dig into, because we had a young man in the group. I was fortunate to have 2 guys in the group. One was a Yoruba teacher in our Biokuta. She taught us the Yoruba language and dialect and that. And this young man spoke 5 languages. He was teaching us from the Arabic, Cherokee, ancient and modern Hebrew. So we exposed the whole workings and the dialect and the vowels and all that and the nequadotes and the punctuations. So when we sat down, we know we talking about it. Nah, that ain't what that's saying. That ain't what that's saying. And people look at why, because we got 2 master teachers that's teaching us the language. And we're breaking down all of this, and then taking to the metaphysical. How does this work? Why is this word so powerful? Because every word has a number attached to it.
And
Okay?
has a vibration
It
attached
has a
to it.
vibration, and based on
Mhm.
that vibration and frequency determines the length and the length and the power and the impact that it has on your subconscious.
I
Okay,
say, I
it's
say.
called
Now you
subliminal
talking
seduction.
E5, baby. Now you
Look at
talking
that! Look at that!
Exactly.
Look at it!
We knew he's gonna bring it back home.
You know, so that's us right there when we created the book. That's the book we created right there. We created that of all the languages. And that is the ancient fire language that our ancestors dealt with to move things.
I
I say.
Yes.
Yeah. Got that stuff in my library over here. Yeah. So I say, baby, I'm not the one to play with, I swear. Not when it comes to this. I don't play with kindergarten cars, but you want to play? We can go play. But you ain't gonna be nice. Because I've been through it. I've been through the various initiations. I've paid my money, and then I've learned from that.
Yes.
And I've been fortunate to be elevated to become what they call an ascending master. When I talk to people, I know the Bible. Trust me. Trust me. That's one book I do know. I know a few other ones too. And I said, no, brother. It don't mean that. It don't mean that. It don't mean that at all. Yet, no, it do not. Because the Bible is based on mythology, metaphors, allegories, and dogma. That's all. This is a storybook. It's just a reference book. You know? And the sad thing about it, you wonder why they believe in it? Because it's the way it's written in poetry. It's written in poetry form. Did people know that? It tells you it's poetry. It's the literature and poetry. The Jews got theirs from somebody else who got them from somebody else. Why is it important to do what we're doing? Oh yeah, that's the book right there. Woo, Lord. Them two books right there in the Bible. In the Bible. And they use it to break spells and things. So why is it in the Bible? Why? The court cases. Oh, that's the master herbal book there. Every practitioner needs that. Why? Because you can sit down and divine, and it tells you what herbs to use to help get people where they need to be to get the balance back. Ain't got to go out and kill up 14 doves and hen 3 ducks and find some golden eggs and some rocks. It gives me because everything E5 deals with, because when you do a lot of that, and please do not get offended what I'm about to say. Please do not get offended. When we practice certain things, we're acting just like Christians. Why do Christians love Jesus? He died for my sins. So I go out and kill a duck to fix my problem. The duck didn't do it. Hell, I did it. So I got to punch that poor duck for something that I got messed up. When the brother say, it's about me fixing my stuff. And he probably tells me how to fix my stuff. And according to the plant value of the plant that we use, emerald, that we take our baths in, will fix us psychologically, because the most powerful thing you have is, sister and brother don't mind. She got such a beautiful smile. I like messing with her because she be saying, let's smile at. What's the most powerful nerve we have?
The sciatic.
Boy, you ain't lying.
I say nerve, but maybe I
I
missed
don't
it.
know if it ain't. It make me act right.
Me too. That's what because it's called the life nerve. It's the large, the life nerve.
Let me go back and say most powerful sense. Let me go back. Let me go there. But not nerve, but sense. What's the most popular sense that we have that can do more damage and has more impact than anyone we have?
You said sense?
Yeah, he said sense. I'm trying to think. What are the 5 senses? Let me
Well,
think.
you know, actually it's 9.
there's
but we
more
do
than
it
5.
Right. Well, what are the nine?
What's your voice, the speak, your sense of touch?
Mm-mm.
You have your such a smell.
Yeah, you go.
Yummy. I got that.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
it.
that nose.
Your
I
male
inherited from
factor,
my
because
parents.
you can smell something that's in you. Man, when I was dating that chick, she wore this cologne. Whoa, damn. 30 years ago, you smell that smell. It's in your mind back 30 years.
Sense of smell. Okay.
Sense of smell. How you think a sense of smell affect your brain? It draws your memory into things.
Mm.
If it smells bad, you won't forget it. If it smells good, see, back in the day, you know, us players, we used to wear a thing called Aramis.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Your brother, man, smile.
Yeah.
All players wore Aramis, understand? Walk in the room, Jim, you know, and among the other brothers, they wore a thing called Kush, you know.
Remember Egyptian musk when that came out?
Yeah.
Everybody was wearing Egyptian
You know,
musk.
Man,
you
we
walk
we
in and
we, we use Kush and Musk and sandalwood in this house faithfully.
yeah, right. You know, but now the white folks love patchouli.
Yeah, patchouli. Yeah.
Why they love patchouli, sister?
I have no idea.
Money.
It draws
I had to
money.
learn how
Money.
to
It
like that
draws
stuff.
money.
Mm-hmm.
Patchouli
Wow.
draws money.
That's true. That's true. That's why I said I learned to like it. At first, I didn't. I started mixing it with amber and,
Yeah, right.
sandalwood, and I was like,
Right.
okay, this is good.
It draws money. Patchouli draws money.
Indeed.
That's true. Huh.
These
you
things
know
I
another
learned from Ephah. Whoa.
Because you know in the Bible they talk about, they only have like about 4 main herbs they talk about in the Bible, and I'm like, that's the only herbs that you have in the Bible?
No, it's a bunch of minerals.
No, because
Hold
I found anointing oils. I found there's all types of
on.
that's not. I don't think that's true.
Now the biggest one in there, we got to move on, is hyssop.
Yes,
Hyssop.
we could do some work with hyssop.
Yeah, hyssop. Hyssop is bad even now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said, Baba.
Excuse me for turning my butt up, but anyway.
Look, whenever he get up with that chair, he about to go get that book. Hold on.
I'm not gonna just go get the book. I'm gonna get the oil.
Dr. York used to sell the oils. Listen, I used to buy them oils because they used to have the thick oils with Dr. York in them.
So, yeah.
Hyssop.
Yeah, bath.
And protection. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, all of that. Bath oils. I recommend to my clients, put 7 drops in your water and a little Florida water and go on and handle your business.
Mm-hmm.
Go on and handle your business.
John had a question.
Okay.
I would say, would you agree? You said smell, but you know, let's just do it the 5 basic senses. Wouldn't you agree that regardless of the senses, they all have to touch the nerves?
That's what the key is, the touch. The touch is the
Water,
matter.
the
Everything has
water.
to touch. But see, when the smell go across the little hairs in your nose, those little male factor nerves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
everything. But it has impact. You can skin get hurt, but ain't nothing like when that smell goes to the brain. It can actually identify things. You know you got burned, but you don't know what. Well, I know I got burned by a stove, but to be able to separate various odors and how they impact on your mind and how it works with your hypothalamus. You familiar with the hypothalamus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how it affects your hypothalamus is really a key player in a lot of things. Folks don't realize it. That's why when you're dealing with time, I'm going back to time now. What's the worst time of the year? When they start changing time. Your body's out of whack.
Yeah.
What they call it, your what they call it, your rhythms all
circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm.
Yeah, circadian
rhythm. Circadian rhythm. Boy, it messes you up. And it also affects your heart. People have known to have heart attacks. This is worse than that's why they're trying to pass the law to go back to standard time. Why did we change the time? I said we. Okay. We did not. The Bible told me they're going to do that to change the law and time. Daniel 7:25. They will seek to change the law and time and dividing of times. And they've done that. Why? To get you off your balance. To break your unification with the cosmos.
The spiritual link.
To control you. And most of the things we do is designed to do what? To control the masses. Religion, control the masses. Politics, control the masses. The world do not like critical thinkers or individual thinkers. That's why the boy had a hard time trying to get drafted. They know he wasn't a kid. You can tell anything he's going to lay down for because his daddy is out there. The world fears a black person. I don't like to use the word black, but an indigenous person that's able to think for themselves and don't follow the norm, follow the crowd. That's our problem. You know, we seek approval of the enemy. I love Ifa because Ifa keeps me out a lot of stuff. I'm gonna shake them bones. I'm gonna shake them. And I'm gonna lay them right down. And I want them to see it so I can scare them. What you doing? I'm just checking with my soul. Your souls, yeah, my souls.
Whistle bones. Oh gosh, I love it.
Because they scared me. That voodoo, you call what you want, but it's my souls. We got you know. You will not, you don't realize the power that you possess as being close to nature as we are, and who are the divine, we are divine entities in this terrestrial world. We're supposed to be trying to say the terrestrial that our celestial is gone off the hinge. We're starving it. We're starving it. I'm 79 years old. In a few days, according to them, well, I'm already 80 because I got 9 months in the womb that they ain't counting. Shit.
Right.
You know. So, but I was, as we were saying earlier, you know, so don't bring me to crazy. Been there. Now, why is it important for us to, oh, you went there, yeah. Important for us to understand the thing about time. Sister Monica, if you flip that page, I want to deal with the 13 moons. Why are these 13 moons? Now, you ladies tell me. The next, flip it over, and we'll go back to that. We'll get that in just a minute. I want to do something. Now, I was given permission to design this calendar way back, and it's been divined on because there's the witness right there. When once it was completed, we had another Babylon who had nothing to do with it come in and do a reading on it, and he far accepted. Is that correct? we got a Jeffy and some more thing. Then this Negro thought he was slick, sister. He gonna come in there now both of us standing there, and we both read the old dude. Okay, he gonna try to slick us. He gonna try to slick us. When you see the reading is yes, but we don't need to get a goat. And we're gonna do. It didn't say get no damn goat.
Right. What was the old dude that fell? Do you remember?
The dude that fell, Bible.
Man. Gosh,
but
it's okay, but you know, at one point I would like to know so I can study. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, what was that old dude?
I mean, brother asked me about it, man. He got down there and pulled out his little. He got this little.
That's all commerce.
Huh?
That's all. That's commerce.
Yeah, we know, but he was there visiting, right? They've been hearing about us. That day we were coming together to get final approval. If Ifa would accept the calendar, was it correct? And was everything on point? So we do that. We don't just do things. We always consult to make sure it meets the approval of the Orishas, our ancestors, you know,
Sure.
and everything. So that day we sat down, we didn't throw on it. We got a total stranger. We thought he came there, got all down on the floor and did his little ceremony, laid out his portable opoon tray and got out his chain and well, as soon as he dropped it, we both knew what it was.
I get that.
Okay, then he gonna come back, and it was a positive yes. You know, it's approval. It's ready to go. This nigga decided we need to go out and buy up some goats and some more stuff to reassure it. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do this, and you need to bring me $200. Bob said, not in this house.
See?
Not in this house. Said, now, what did it say? Where is it about? He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Bob would say, look, man, not in this house. Ain't happening. It's been approved, sanctioned, and that's what it is.
That's it.
And from that point on, it went to press. I can't remember what it was, but oh man, what was that old dude?
I ought to call him and ask him.
No, oh God. What about his spot?
Oh, I mean, because we friends,
call him
you
on
know, I just knew
speakerphone.
what he was doing. You know,
Be real messy with it.
You know, but I can't remember.
You already know it was going to be answered yes, because that's based off of the natural rhythm, not the one that they created.
Thank you.
In 1582, which is a mechanical time system. Like, come on now.
But what would be the point for the EBO? Like, what? So, what was the point?
It's commerce, money, currency.
Well, yes, indeed. So what I did, as I told him, I said, "I'll tell you what. You want to go? Ask E5 if it's supposed to be a metaphysic goat. Let's go with that. Let's ask him if it's a literal goat or a metaphysic goat."
Did he do that?
Nah, he said, "Nah, I ain't gonna do that." I said, "Why?
I ain't gonna do that. No, I ain't gonna do that.
Why not? Why
not?" That's why I started something called the E5 Esoteric Society. It's people like us that we can get together and we can do these things. You know, it's not like E5 Tune. I'm actually initiated to E5, so I'm in the system. I'm in a Rumula walking this earth. I have the right. I'm one of those people that believe that even the mouth that I'm saying, what you're saying right now, is we are creating new Odu, and that to be explored. Not to say that it doesn't already exist, because everything has a program. So that's why I would have already known, but you were being honorable and being obedient by getting the Dafa done. But you already knew. You already knew. But what's good about doing it is also seeing the Orisha that are working with you. Who are the Aladimu? That's why I wanted to know what is the Odu, so we can see what Orisha, who wanted to go, because if SU wanted to go, they would be saying, listen, esoterically, don't be stubborn right now. You know, you're going to put this information out. A lot of people are going to have issues with it. Like,
that's what it was. It was Agbe Okana. I think it was Agbe Okana.
Agbe Okanran?
Yes, I think so. Oh man, or was it Obara?
That's big. That's big. Come on now.
Man, it was in that neighborhood. It was in that neighborhood.
Well, when y'all get it,
the second cat. That was, I think,
he said it was Obara. That's what Baba said. It was Obara.
I think it was Obara.
Obara what? Okanran?
No, it was Agbe Okana. I believe.
You might get.
Or was that the second one?
Because I was looking around going like, who this nigga?
Wasn't that the second cast? I think that was the second cast. The
first cast was throw it twice, yeah.
The first cast,
man, and we didn't video it either. But anyway,
because once she did that first one, I was done. I'm like, well, you might.
Yeah, that was a wrap.
Yeah.
First was open road, and then Kana means whatever, you know, and then so the second,
But I asked him to see. I said, look, why don't you ask E5 if it's referring to a metaphysics goat? And he said, man, I'm not gonna do that. I can't do that. I said, well, why? You this not your house, it's my house.
He tried to get that deal.
It's my house. So
tradition and dogma.
Yeah, so he balled up all his stuff. You know,
so basically, off of that Odu that you're saying, basically light needs to be tempered by fire, especially if Obara was bringing in the transformation. So make sure with the goat that you're not being arrogant with this information, stubborn.
Yes, that's
Right.
what he was talking. That's what the read. That's what he was saying in the read. That's what he was saying.
As I said, when you're in a room, Mila, walking this earth, and you are really tapped in, you will start. The Pele is within. The Akin is within.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I
That's
said,
why I'm able to tap in right now, because I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. He ain't want to hear that. Nah, he want that money.
yeah,
You ain't about to fleece my people, pimping.
yeah.
No, buddy. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
What's that question? Can we?
So balance touches. Can we be born
Ifa.
Ifa in spirit? I was guided by something since a child. I thought that my imaginary friend was God, but I had a dream as an adult and I realized it was me in the future.
That sounds more like Egg Bay to me.
Yeah.
Most people, when they're initiated to Ifa and things like that, well, some people initiate to Ifa. Everybody initiates for their own reasons, but some people are initiated because that was their path from heaven to earth. That's
Right,
who they
right.
are.
See, that's
Right.
what
I'm one of those people, and my daughters and my grandson, we are those kind of people. But
that's what I am.
what this question from Balance Touch sounds to me more sounds like Egg Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, just like I said, because there are those who are born already come into the world already with the gifts. These are things you picked up when you left the Grand Council for tools to come to work with. So everybody was told to get your tools you're going to work with, and certain of us came with certain tools, and that's why I tell people all the time. Are you familiar with the book Ifa is on the complete works of a Roman and my sister?
Sorry. I teach from that book. We got like 20. Where is our books? Where is our books? I have all of them. Like, stop. I invested heavily.
And bring me something to drink. I would appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to
tell
get loud.
her to bring me something to drink too.
Look, we all like my underarms are sweating right now. Like Asarmo EB.
Osamara.
Osamaro EB. Yeah. Do you know that I printed it out the first time? Like, I printed every single page out and I read the story. And let me tell you, I fell asleep and I remember reading a certain story and I was like, this is me. I got initiated about a year later in that same Odu file that I was like, this is me.
Now did you hear what you said?
Day turns to night, your life will go exactly as that Odu fell, right? And I was like, this is me. When I was initiated about a year later, I had already received my hand of Ifa a year before, but a year later, I just kept saying, I relate to this story so much. And that Odu fell for me when I initiated.
When you bought the book, you bought each chapter, right?
Well, yeah, the first one comes with, it's Ifism 1. And then as I started seeing them online, I started buying them. It was like $250, sometimes $500. And the ones I didn't, I printed that I couldn't get anymore, I printed out.
Some was $1,000, some was $1,300, some was
$1,300, man.
I got it before, but I got them before that. I just happened to get them. I got them like 10 years. I got them a long time.
The original. This is from the original book. The book was all in one, $4,000. But I bought it when it first came out. When Osamara EB first came out with it in '86, I bought it for $35 at Black Images. We saved the book, and I was able to go back and went through it. And I made copies of it. Then another one got it. Then it went from that to $4,000. One of the book was $1,300. One was $1,400. When you got through, you be close to down there 10 grand. Because he got smart. Rather than leaving it in one volume or one package, he started breaking it down by chapter.
Yep.
Okay. That's got and to make more money. Yeah. But this is one volume. Every last one of them. And what I loved about it, it told you about where the white man come from and what Odu he came in under.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And also, even before that, it tells you about each stage of creation. Like, this is how I teach Ifa in my family.
It tells you that we created God in the book. Okay. It tells you how money came, what it takes to what you get money to do what it's supposed to do. How
Ajay came to
everything-
earth.
This is the only book that breaks down every phase of life and what old Dewey came in the world under.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that even from reading it, I had to be careful because you know he came from a Christian background. So when
I
he first
understand,
started
but guess
talking,
what?
but the spirit of Ifa was definitely with me when I was reading it, and I was able to get past certain things, and I got it. And when I say I got it, it changed my life.
Right. And this is why I divine on everything, and I got to know him. Okay. Well, let me hit you with this one.
I don't have that one.
I don't
Joe,
have that either. I don't have that one.
Never even seen it.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that either, Bob.
Oh,
And I
so
consider people
Who's
consider
it
me
by?
to have a huge library for my age.
Who's it by?
My stuff looked like yours if I was to turn it around.
go ahead, Baba.
Who's it by?
Joe,
I have to go back. It's by. I have to pull it up.
Was one of them boys you told me you planning on leaving that library too? I need to make sure I go on up there and call him up on out that library, man.
yeah. That's gonna be hang on, but that's gonna be something. His name is
I do. What's his name? No, that's not it.
What is the book about?
Is it Fashina Faladay? No.
No.
Now I like his books.
Yeah. But Chief Holiday, Chief
$350. I'm about to get that joint.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
What is that one about? What is that one about?
It's about cosmology, creation, 1, 2, Ile, Iseta, eBay. It goes on and on. It's
right
awesome.
Here. It's already plugged in and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Put that in the mail. Put that in the mail, Bob.
Right. Yeah, send it to me too. I need it.
That in the mail.
Man, that's out of print.
For $350 right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I want to get a copy of that too. And I found Ephism. I found like the volume 1 on Scribd.
Yep. Scribd. No, you're right. That's where I copied. They used to all be on there. That's where I copied them from, like maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
Man, they lost their mind on these prices for these books now, man.
Now, Baba, Egun, I just sent him a case.
Did a white person write these books, or was it a black person that wrote them?
That's a white boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which one you talking
about? Listen, don't get hung on that because they have the funds and the money to do the research, and you just gotta bounce off of it. But now with Osamari Ebi, and he's a brother, but like you said, he was going for the Christian thing. But I fell in love because at that time, all we had was what's the guy's name? William Bass.
William Bass.
Then we had the other guy was Philip Newmark when they came out, and
and he passed.
Yeah, and then you
had
yeah, you got Gwen, the lady I showed you a while ago, Whippler, different ones were writing. And then when he came out in 80-something with his book, I fell into it. I had to, because he was making things so plain. So the wife and I read through that book twice. We went through the whole thing twice. We studied it twice.
I go.
You go.
Out of all those books that you have, that's based on, I guess, I want to just say the African cosmology spiritualism period. What is the overall lesson that you got?
I was able to take that and separate tradition and customs from what Ifa is.
What is Ifa?
Ifa is a binary system for communication. It has nothing to do with your customs and traditions.
What else is Ifa?
Ifa is the communication. It's the brings the balance to elevate your spirituality, that you be able to obtain a maximum balance in your life.
So how does it affect the Ori, the mind, the inner you?
The Ori is the key factor. If the Ori don't accept it, it won't work. It has to come through the Ori. Otherwise, the mind has to carry through all various levels, and it's more than just one level of that. And once you obtain that level, the consciousness. But how many consciousnesses is it? You know, We talk
Yeah.
about conscious, subconscious, superconscious. There's
Yeah.
there's another conscious a little bit higher than that. We
So
talk about terrestrial. What about your celestial conscious?
Consciousness. Yeah.
I say.
Yeah.
So you have so E5 is also able to give you an understanding of different dimensions that different
That's what
realities
you
that
come
you can
to.
live
There,
within.
there, there are 18 different dimensions. And of the
Mhm.
18 different dimensions, E5 is able to give you a roadmap how to navigate those dimensions. And that's what we need, because a lot of time we don't. Like, for instance, we're on the 13th star planet. There's
Mhm.
another called the planet Nibiru. You ever heard of it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Come on, Dr. York. He gave us a lot of And my husband was down there on the land, like he one of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, young man, that was Ephiism is the complete work of, that's the one that was sold in chapters.
I'll put it in there for IFISM. He fits so good.
Yeah.
So different levels of reality, and those different levels of reality also tap into your lineage that have lived in those different levels of reality also.
Oh,
That's what I
thank
was
you
trying to
for
tell them.
fixing lineage.
And there is no altar you can build that can encompass all of that experiences.
Mhm.
While you are the shrine, you the enshrinement of all of that.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we cheat ourselves or rob ourselves of our potential because we do not tap into that source. In this, there's no bad or good side. There's no bad cousin or bad. It's all about bringing you that back. Sometimes you need that old fool to be on your side, or that smart one, depending on the situation. You know,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
when Aunt Susie was known for cutting a nigga, sometimes you got
Mhm.
to bring Aunt Susie up. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know,
Indeed.
you
Indeed.
know, so what we're talking about now is getting that balance, being able to tap into both sides, the light and dark side, to get you what you need, because out of all of those things, there is an offspring that is born from that, which comes in under a certain order.
I say. So Baba, would you equate that anybody that is that wants to learn about African cosmology or African spirituality, they
Let's
need
say,
to
let's say
first
Acubulon.
I'm sorry. Yeah, a Cuban
Acubulon.
spirituality, that they need to first, that it would be wise for them to get with someone that is capable of teaching them Obi Obata, so they can begin to tap into Odu and elevate their thinking.
The first thing I want them to do is get educated before initiating. They need to
Mm,
sit down and go to a preliminary beginning class to overstand, so you don't get easily took up by these shysters. Then I would teach them the OB, the four collar skills, which is simple, because OB Obata, you know, if you're gonna get the OB and all that, keep it elementary, keep it AISS, keep it simple, stupid, keep it simple. And from that, I will let them graduate from that to the Marine de Legumes, the Opele, and up the line, you know.
mm, mm,
But I
Yeah,
was
I was
starting
gonna say
because
too. Have you
everybody
heard about the
needs
coconut?
somebody in the house that can divine and get answers. Somebody has to be the priest, a priestess in every home, because you can't keep running to the damn doctors until all these handkerchief heads, they think they know it. They don't know shit and shine over.
Now you talking government, family, tribe, clan. Yes.
You know,
I
Yes.
you talk
say,
about a community. You got to get
Yes.
yourself right first.
Come on. Ugh.
And I was
mm,
gonna
That's
say,
That's
why
our
if
you
you
know,
problem.
can't get if
We
you
are
can't
so
get OB
we are
Obata
so
or
diverse.
Dilagoon,
Yeah,
you can
we
grab a
are so
coconut.
diverse. That's why we have a problem, because none of us came from the same tribal area. You understand? And that's what the
yes.
problem is. But EPOC can bring us together because it becomes the number one communication factor in it.
Yes. Yeah, I
You know,
love it.
yeah.
Yes.
And that's what we got to come together at. But we ain't got time to argue about who ain't this and who ain't the other. I ain't got time to worry about another Babylon, what he ain't doing. That's between him and his source.
Yes.
mm.
My concern is, if you come to me, I have no reason to lie to you. I'm gonna tell you just like it is, like a TIE and like a TI was, and bring you up on it. I'm gonna tell you how the
Mm.
cow chew the cabbage and why he eat green grass and yellow white milk and yellow butter.
So Ifa also offers to an individual to understand that their life is not based in time, that they have always existed. And at the
Yes,
time that they're divining is where their rest what is going on so they can form a cast to heal and see what they need to see to bring balance to their life, right?
In the dianosphere, time does not exist, only in the terrestrial world.
Mm-hmm.
And once you crossed over and took that first breath, you stepped into a matrix or a time zone that is definitely you want to work with. But
So that's
once
the
you
three
pass
dimension.
that, the third dimension. But some
Yeah.
folks it's in the second dimension. They went down to the first dimension. That's how far up, and and you can't tell them SHI, but when you, like I tell people, operates on the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. I ain't got time for the third.
Mm.
Why? It's definitely an illusion. It's jacked up bad.
Yeah. And anything beyond the third, you can see the past, present, and the future, period. Like anything beyond the third. Us sitting in here in the third is just like death.
Yeah, it's a ball of confusion. Nothing. What was true yesterday ain't true today. What the heck?
I just want to say this real quick too, y'all. There's people here that are just never heard of this before. They don't know what these words are. OBO bata. We're saying some things Odu. So for the people in the back that probably don't know what OBO bata is, and they're saying, well, what we got going on over here? I wanted to be clear. Okay, what is OBO bata? That's why I said, well, we probably could start off with a coconut. It's a cola nut. Where would you get something like that? Would you go to the African store, or how do you know you got the right coconut? Cola nut.
Well, first and foremost, I started mine out with simple stuff, with the folk shell casting, the coral shell. Everybody can find coral shells, and then you work from there. Once you learn what it means and how it works, then you can go up to the other, because sometimes you go get these different coconuts and this, that, and other, fine and good. But if you're not really, my safe thing is the coral shell. It don't change color, it don't get old, all that. I ain't got to dip it in water, sprinkle it all over my shoulder, around my ears, my lips, all that,
Sprinkle it all around my shoulder.
You are so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Cause when I go in my little bag,
I go.
Okay.
you go.
So
Go ahead,
Baba, do you and Miss Abundant Child and what's your name? Girl, what you got up there, Mark? I can't.
Genesis. My name Genesis.
Just
call me Monica. People know me here as Genesis.
Genesis, do y'all
that's the cowrie shell, y'all. If y'all don't know what that is, that's what a cowrie shell look like. Y'all
yeah, right.
In y'all dreadlocks, and y'all don't even know y'all have a divination tool sitting right there that you could divine.
Not only that, do you realize what you're doing?
do you all
wait by putting them in your hair?
Yeah, you telling people that that you're connected, and you ask them about bubble gum, and you tell them about a can of syrup.
So Baba, what I was asking is, do you guys offer classes to teach people how to divine? Because I'm sure a lot of people.
That's our next step. I will give them certain information and certain material to start reading and getting familiar with. Basic 16. What are the basic 16? You got 16 majors and 240 minors. But what people don't realize, and when I say this, I want to look at the expression on Abundant Child's face. Do you not know that for 500 years we've been divining wrong? You use the same throw for male and female, and that ain't how it works. When you throw from the right to the left, that's masculine.
I studied.
And from the left to the right, that's feminine.
Yeah, he taught me this. I actually.
There you go.
As a teacher, if you look, my thing is like torn up this book.
Come on now. Come on.
This one.
Come on.
He's actually in my E5 lineage. He's the elder in my E5 lineage. So, this is what I use to help me to really, yes.
Okay. But when you throw or even divine, you got divine recognizing who am I divine into? Is it a male or female? Because they got the cotton road and they got another name. So it don't read the same. We're not the same. Even though the old dude will fit, but it's not a cookie cutter. And that's the danger. One size fit all, no. That's and I learned this by research. That's why I think I deal with you with the different groups saying what different ways how the old dudes fall. You remember me sending you that and all the other one? You got 3 different groups and the way it. Okay, yo, that's okay. That's the OB. That's OB Obata. And they change color. If you don't break it just right, you don't know what you're looking at.
Right. That's why I was saying you got to find something simple for people just beginning.
And simple,
if
simply
you're
is
not
easy.
aware of it.
And I believe I use the Cara shells. You can get them in the white, you get them in the brown and beige. You know what? I use the brown and beige because it keeps me different than everybody wearing in their hair. Everybody wears those in their hair and around their necks and on the tail. But the ones I use, it's called. They are very colorful, and it's sacred to me. So I don't use sacred tools for everyday wear. You see what I'm saying? So
to answer your question, Brother Ogunbemi, I do teach divination, but the prerequisite courses are working with Ori. I teach Ori first. Actually, I teach Oludumare first in cosmology, and I do that by teaching mathematics, and I do that by also teaching Yoruba. So teaching the elisions of the words, like breaking down every single word that we use in Oludumare. So you can understand where it falls in creation. And then where it falls in creation, I syncretize that with what they have told us in quantum physics. That makes people from all different aspects have more understanding. What I'm going to learn from Baba is how to take, which I thought I was doing a good job at on my own, is taking what I learned in the Bible, because I used to teach Sunday school for my church, Rock of Ages Baptist Church. They're like, how do you need Ifa? I'm like he said, communication. I'm teaching the Ifa version of the Bible, but he just dropped so much stuff. I was studying his first Ifa class, and I gave that class today. My mom literally just texted me and said, thank you for the fellowship today, because I started breaking down 1 Corinthians and teaching her cosmology that I learned like in Ephism. So if I teach that Oludumare and then Ori, you really want people to know how to see if Ori has any messages for you or any offerings. And so I don't start them out with shells. I start them with coconut, because you can give the coconut as an offering, which will get them later on to Obi, which you can give as an offering, and finding out, do you want me to leave the coconut, giving them other ways. So, and I explained to them, once they have that relationship and know the rules of how to divine, then you can use pennies. You can use flip-flops if you want to, anything that, you know what I mean? So, but if you're working with your Ori, it's just like today, working with my Ori. She saw me yesterday and she was like, do you have a headache? And I said, no, because she kept seeing me grab my head. It's because messages kept coming through. Getting
downloads.
And the things that I was saying, like, let's say I started talking about menstrual blood with Erosoon. I could tell the sister wanted to build on that, but the messages were coming through and it was hurting my head, because it was like, don't stay focused on what they want you to stay focused on. Teach Ifa. Tell them where you're going with that. But my head was hurting because it's like, I keep hearing. And because I wasn't listening, it was like screams getting louder, like, so then that's why she saw me holding my head. So I be trying to teach. That's how I teach. And I think it's necessary. And why? Because I have 2 daughters that are initiated to Ifa. I have something called Drop Squad Institute, which is our holistic job corps. But our main program is Drop Squad Kitchen, which is how we teach everybody Ifa and everything by working in what I know best is in the kitchen. It's how I grew up with my mothers, and learning science, math, character, all of those types of things. And so we start with Ori.
Oh man, that
wow.
I see
why. Another thing that I was told, I went to not a bembe, but like a misa one time, and they told us that if you hear that ringing in your ears, you're supposed to say what's on your mind, because if you don't, you'll get a headache. So when you hear that ringing, you're supposed to say whatever is on your mind, or speak whatever that.
But I couldn't remember, because she kept asking questions. She wanted to keep going back, and it was I'm not saying she was doing anything bad. It's just that's why I have my own show, so I can get the stuff off. You know, when you have other people asking questions and stuff like that, my head starts hurting, because I'm just like, I'm an Obara. You know what I mean? That is my birth Odu, Obara Meiji, like, the mouth.
When were you born?
Where?
When were you born?
March 17th, 1975.
What is that, Baba?
Pisces.
March.
No,
No, we talking
that's
about
Olakun.
uh
Olakun, ain't it? She's saying
let me check and see because I heard her say that and that carried me back to where I was trying to go. Let's just see here.
10:13 and 28 seconds.
do you know what day?
Monday.
Oh,
Okay.
Ooh wee. Is that Olakun?
I'm trying to see. She said it was.
I'm
Let
trying to
me
learn
get it.
y'all.
You know, Baba. You can
You
pull it
said
up.
March 16th,
17.
17th.
March
Yeah, that is
17th.
Olakun.
Dambala's day.
That's
Wait,
Olakun.
wait.
I'm
Hold
saying
on.
Dambala because that's when they celebrate Dambala in the diaspora.
Yeah, I
You
know,
know
but
what I mean?
let's see. What day you say that is, sister?
March 17th.
March 17th?
Yes.
That's Ogun.
Mhm.
That was Ogun.
That's Ogun.
March.
And what I want to
She
do,
said
sister?
May.
Huh?
I thought she said May. What you
No,
say?
she said March.
I said March.
March. Sister,
March.
Abundant Child, do me a favor.
Mhm.
Based on the information, I want to try something. I want you to write down the day and the week and the year you were born.
All right.
You know what? You know where I'm going, don't you, Barbara?
Yeah.
You know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that. It should line up with what she said, though.
But I'm thinking because where it's thinking, the number's going to change. Because see, if she's going by the fact that the Gregorian calendar,
No,
that would
not that.
Gregorian calendar is the 12th week
now I'm
in
going.
the year of
I'm going with this.
1975.
Okay, the first house?
My first house would be ascendant Gemini.
Okay, that's where we're
Now
gonna run into
that's more like it. That's more like it. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I studied with Raku. I studied every day for a year with that brother from Cosmophysics.
Yeah,
but we got something that we about to turn you on to here in a minute.
I'm thankful. I'm like, okay, turn me on.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're going to look at the month and what put the date, the year, and what day that day fell on, because you got to look back at the
It's a
year and the
Monday.
date. Huh?
Monday. It was a
On a
Monday.
Monday, right?
You know when it
So
talks about the
we're going to look at. We're going to write this down.
Liberty.
Huh.
We're going to add this up. Okay.
These numbers important.
Yeah, the numbers important. Okay.
Writing this down.
What? Okay. With that falling on a Monday, okay, that is going to be Elegba on the day. Okay. So we're going to write down 1. We're going to write down 2.
It was over.
And then write down the year.
Yes.
1975.
So give me the total.
10.
No, the overall total. Oh yeah, 10. Yeah. Give me the total.
Of March 17, 1975.
March to what?
March
the 17th. You're gonna put down 1 and then put 17. It's on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and give me the year.
1975. That comes
Add
up to
all that up.
It adds up to 1995.
Divided by 16.
Oh, snap. Wait a minute, because I'm recording everything that we're doing so that I can know how to get to this equation myself. So we did that. So that's going to be 124.6875.
Okay, you want to break it out, but you add it up and divide it by 16.
1995 divided by 16. Yeah, let me use my
add all of it together, then divide the overall thing by 16.
So 19, shoot, 95. Oh my
divided
goodness.
by 16.
95
Carry to the
divided
lowest
by.
common denominator. Carry to the lowest common denominator.
That would be 6 and 1 is 7.
The number 7, right?
Mr. Lagoon, right?
No, what's it? No, wait a minute.
Yeah,
3
just
and 4 is
hold on.
Hold on a minute. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Okay. Now that means you came in with Ogun and Elegua issue at that time. Now, check this
on
out.
Dover Air Force Base. I was born
What?
on the Air Force Base.
So, and I'm an Air Forceman. I was stationed at Nellis. I did my time at Nellis. I'm an airman. But here we go. Go to the 16. Go to the 16 old dude.
Is Irosun.
Oshun.
You were
Irosun.
born
I
Irosun.
said Oshun, the sounding of Oshun.
Okay. When you arrived on the scene, that's what old dude you came in here under.
Irosun.
So when I received my hand of
V5,
V5,
is menstrual blood, right?
40 Irosun.
What?
So
I'm not playing. When I received my E5, it came up Iwordi Irosun. Ire Aj.
I say.
That is a simple way, because in the month of Ogun, the day and with Elegua, at that time, when you arrived on the scene, these are energies that came with you, and you came in under the Odu Irosun, menstrual blood.
I said that yesterday on the show. I said Irosun is menstrual blood, and that's what I said. Listen, when this is giving me vibes right now, like I went somewhere for a second, and when I went somewhere, it reminded me of when Oduduwa and the family split up, and now they went from Ile-Ife to Oyo. What we have here is what y'all have come up with, and this is like a system for us of communication that people can really relate and understand to, especially those who are interested in numerology and astrology and things and human design, because all of this, I keep telling the brother that I studied astrology with that my chart, my birth chart is exactly the same as my birth Odu. It's almost identical.
So
but see, the thing about it, most of them use the 12 celestial bodies when it's 13, and your number change, because normally the first month would be, they call January, when it's actually a March, the 20 around that time at the first equinox. That means Ogun, it starts right there in the mid. So everything from that point and for the next 28 days, that's what's handling it, And remember, Elegba is only one attribute of issue. It's not the whole thing.
I have Ganesha. I keep Ganesha in a certain place in my house. Absolutely.
She a person that she truly believes in reciprocity. If you don't give her what she gave, she gets highly offended. She might not tell you, but she gets really offended.
I used to. I've done a lot of, I've been humbled and had to do a lot of Ori work. But another thing that I did is I also had my chart progressed.
That's the ascending.
My master number then too also is 33.
And I say.
So what I did is working with this brother. He progressed my chart by asking me questions like, did this happen to you at 12 years old? Were you molested? Do you have a tooth missing on your left side? Do you have any scars? And he was like, no. You weren't born at this time. You were born at this time. So it changed up my whole chart that I thought that I had for 30 years. My chart changed. And the chart that he did is very identical to my birth Odu.
And that's the same thing that Ifa does. Change your reality.
And when you receive your Itefa, if you have good people who are doing your work, I received an Itefa summary. And the spiritual court that I had that it said that I came with was Ajay, Ogun, Eshu, Oshun, Obatala.
I
my main Orisha, most people around here are going to have me as Olokun or Oshun. But upon further research and asking Ifa, because they couldn't understand, They said, oh, it's Nana Baruku coming out of my mother's lineage. I am my mother's
Right.
lineage, my children. So my guardian, I should say, not main, because all of them is Nana Baruku, and it makes sense. People always be like, she's so controlling, protective, all of those things that you said. But if you don't know me personally, don't know my heart, that's how you look at it. But now I understand that's that Nana Baruku unequitable energy.
Right.
Mother of the Arisha energy. Mother of the Arisha. That's a
Mother
lot.
of that's who she is. And a lot of folks don't recognize, but that's who she is. And we did a lot of work with that. That's why I know about Nana Baruku and how they try to cross her up with back from effort. No. You got to go a little deep. See, the thing about this is we don't go deep enough. If you can only go for as Egypt and that, you're not nearby deep enough. And you said something a while ago that when Oduduwa journeyed over and went into what Oyo land, when he met the North tribe, the North people, which was back over 43,000, 60,000 years ago. His son Orumia, Orumia, took his dad's place. He was the youngest, and he moved Ife from where it was to another state and created a new one. It's all in there, and when he did, that's when they began to broaden and build up on their farming and spreading out what they call Oyo, because the word Yoruba, if you're not been familiar with the fact that Yoruba the name came along in the 18th century by a guy by the name Samuel Isaac Crowther. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He's the one that created the language for the Yoruba. Before then, the word Yoruba meant what? Lazy bastard.
Oh,
Is that
yes.
Alex Crow?
I did
Alex
read
Crow,
about.
right?
Yeah,
No,
I did
his
read
name
about
was
that.
Samuel Isaac Crowther.
Crawford.
He was the one that gave them their alphabet and their language and told them to adopt the word Yoruba. Because most Yoruba say we are Ifa, I-F-E. We're not that. They wore the name Ifa. And when they came through from the Sahara through and met the Phoenicians named them Yoruba, which means, and it was spelled different, lazy, whatever, bastard, something along that line, because they wasn't doing no work. They wasn't going to do that. They were going through. And they kept on moving till they got over to West. There he is. Right
Yes.
there. There he is. Documentation beats conversation. And he is the founder of the language. He wrote the dictionary and he based it off the Bible.
Yes.
He based it off of the Bible because he wanted to be a bishop in the Anglican church. That's why it's important to understand timeline, chronology, language, and all these things. You see what I'm saying? So with that, that's what, and then we're not very careful. As long as we keep chasing the Gregorian calendar, we forever be out of balance. We've got to get back to the 13 celestial bodies, and that 13th one would be Olakumba. Now the 9th one is Oshamara. Are you familiar with Oshamara, sister? Are you familiar with Oshamara? Oshamara, you familiar with the Orisha called Oshamara?
Oh, absolutely. I posted about it. That's another Orisha that came with me because Obara represents the rainbow. Yes.
Yeah, what
I was talking
Oshamara.
about Sumare or Osamara.
It's Oshamara. You get yeah.
That's why I say
He
we're talking about
recognized
the
the
same person.
navel between the celestial and terrestrial world, and it's
Yes.
called the serpent. The man that's holding the serpent.
I typed it in there. I just didn't put Oshumare in there. And I said at DJ, I put it in there when she was asking, and I put a comment in there.
It should be. Well, we call it Oshamara. I guess by name, but Oshamara, and that's the 9th house. And there's 13 houses, and if you look at the history, why they took the 13th house because of the feminine energy and what it represented, and they didn't want to deal with it. Even in the book of Enoch, it's only 28 days, according to that. And there is an Odu that talks about 28 days in the I sent it to the sister. It says that in Ifa, we work on a 13 month, 28-day calendar.
Yeah.
Sister Monica, do you still have access to that particular piece of information I sent to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is my sister, Oloye Ifayeli Ayele Kumari.
Yeah.
That was the other
Yeah.
book I saw.
Yeah. That come out. That come out of the book. But I'm trying to get you. Well. Yeah. There is a oh yeah.
But I always tell people to start with this one.
Yeah, okay. But there is an Odu, and in that Odu it says it's 28 days. 28 days, and there is an Odu that verifies it.
I'm trying to
And I
think.
sent it to Sister Monica. I was trying to find it. See if you can find that, Sister. I need verification.
What are you looking for? I need to know exactly what you're trying to find. The calendar.
I'm trying to find when I sent you the information, and it says that it gave us the Odu that about the 28 days.
Is it Ogbeyonu? Ogbeyunu?
No, let me see. Let me go back through my notes here.
I don't have my phone on me. My daughter's got my phone. The Odu.
Oh, okay. Let's see. But there is an Odu.
Otor talks about the measurement of time through cycles.
It might be there, but I do know that it's 28 days. And it gives you 28 days, 4-day week, something along that line.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see if this is what you're talking about. Is this?
And the lunar count 28 days length is a lunar.
No, he's.
Obaro Conran talks about stuff like that.
Now I'm trying to find the Odu that falls under. Remember, everything comes in the world, and it comes under a particular Odu.
Yes.
And that Odu tells you a lot about that and how it really works. Let me see. Where is that book? I got some of them think. Where is that book?
So the moon is called Osupa.
Yeah, but we're talking about any
hold on,
no, it's
let's see if he has the actual Odu in here.
Is it Oyeku Meiji? Oyeku Meiji?
No, it wouldn't be Oyeku Meiji. I'm trying
to. There's a few of them. That's what I'm just giving you a few things because
and I'm loving it because that's why we work together to get the answers to some of these.
Ofun Osa. There's Ogbeyonu. Then there's
That's what I said. Ogbeyonu.
Yeah. So Ofun Osa. Ofun Sa says, cast divination for the day and for the month. They ask for the day to offer bunches of straw. The month shall offer a calabash of shea butter. They both heard about the offering and performed it. Since we cannot look directly into a sunny day, the sun's rays are like bunches of straw, but we are able to look into a full moon. So that's okay. Okay, and the verse that follow, Ifa revisits the relationship between the moon and stars, and the moon is characterized by the mother of the stars. As the mother of the stars, the verse amplifies the significance of Supa by linking it to Ori. So it's talking about how the moon is connected to the mind.
Oturapon Ta. Oturapon Ta. The 237th Odu. 237th Odu.
Okay, hold on.
And this comes from the Ifa University of Knowledge.
What you said? Oturapon Sa?
Oturapon Tura. Ta.
Oturapon Otora.
Yeah. 237, the 237th Odu.
You said that's regarding the 28-day cycle.
Yes, a month is 28 days, which is 7 Orisha weeks, which are each 4, and it
That's
breaks it
funny.
down. The process
So
of the
you don't know.
tetragram.
I've been loving the diaspora versions of these some of their ideas. They be giving us so much more. You know what I mean?
The process starts with 4 tetragram area 4x4 square, and then combine the 4, and it takes the whole breakdown. And it says, and the old dude that it came in under is old dude 237. Yeah. This came from the book called The Universe of Ifa Knowledge.
Okay. From the book Universe of Ifa Knowledge.
Well, that's just one of the things we laying out there. So the point that I'm making, and everything to be balanced, it has to come in the world under a particular Odu. Otherwise, it's artificial. It came here illegally. It came in here otherwise. It came here illegally. And there are those things that did come here illegally. You have to be careful when you things tie in. So when we're doing a thing, we make sure that what Odu did it come in under, because even each and she got the book. Even in Ifaism, every Odu was born under an Odu. That was, you know, everybody think it all came in one package. No, as they were birthed, everything come in with that symbol, that sign, and its place, and how you get your seniorities and so forth and so on. How you don't get a seniority without a numbering, without a system? You know, my first child, my second child are just child. And we have to learn that with that is a power number and a structure. That's why most languages have numbers. Then it goes into numerology, into algorithm. It goes to binary codes. The thing called African fractal. Are you familiar with that, abundant child?
African what?
African fractal.
No.
Woo! Lord,
and I might be that. Maybe it's just I didn't know it was called that. But let's go. What's that?
Yeah, you know, well, I did a show the first time, and we brought up the fact how they went over and got a Fulbright scholarship to go to Africa to learn this system that they created a computer system off of a far binary system.
Okay, yeah.
And they spent a lot of money, and the guy only got one hand. He didn't get both hands. He only got one hand. If they did all with one hand, if them fools got two hands, we'd be in a world of trouble.
Yes. I didn't know it was called African fractal, but I did when
African fractal.
So much stuff came up about this repeated design pattern. You know what I mean? So I remember. I just didn't know. You know, that's what.
A guy named Ted. He went and did it. There you go.
Yep.
He did a TED talk about. Yeah. He did. His name ain't Ted though.
Hold on, let me screenshot. Don't take it down.
His name is Ron English.
Yeah, Ron English. Yeah. He said the guy, the man was crazy.
They did a TED talk. He's the guy named Ted. Okay, let me see. Where do you want to go into? Hold on, let me try to find.
Read about there when he showed the combination. Red long.
Yeah.
You see it?
No, this is enough.
You then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd. Even plus even gives you even. Odd plus odd gives you even. It's addition modulo 2, just like in the parity bit check on your computer. And then you take this symbol and you put it back in. So it's a self-generating diversity of symbols. They're truly using a kind of deterministic chaos in doing this. Now, because it's a binary code, you can actually implement this in hardware. What a fantastic teaching tool that should be.
So what the story is that, you know, he was trying to get the information, and they didn't want to tell him. And then one person went up and said, "Come here, I'll tell you the secret."
You know what?
Now here he goes. Now he at Harvard, or he doing a TED talk, and he went to Harvard and made a whole computer out of it. But you know, everybody else was like, we don't want to tell you all that. You know what I'm saying? But then, you know, so one of them sold it out. Like, hey, come over here. Give me $100. I'll tell you it. You know, so let's hear what he had.
In African engineering schools. And the most interesting thing I found out about it was historical. In the 12th
There
century,
it is.
Hugo of Santillana brought it from Islamic mystics into Spain, and there it entered into the alchemy community as geomancy, the divination through the earth. This is a geomantic chart drawn by for King Richard II in 1390. Leibniz, the German mathematician, talked about geomancy in his dissertation called De Combinatoria. And he said, well, instead of using 1 stroke and 2 strokes, let's use a 1 and a 0. And we can count by powers of 2, right? 1s and 0s, the binary code. George Boole took Leibniz's binary code and created Boolean algebra, and John von Neumann took Boolean algebra and created the digital computer. So
they started off with this African thing, this
African
African binary thing, and then they blah, 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 and the next thing you know, you have Boolean code. So yeah, that's pretty much
That's pretty much, you know. And so I tell people all the time. So we that's why it says that if anything's going to be fixed, it's going to take the indigenous people in this diaspora. It's going to take us coming together and fix it.
Yep.
Because we've gone through all the life experiences that one can encounter in this realm, right? Our problem is we keep letting folks divide us against each other to slow down the process. That's why it's important we go back and clean up what's been messed up. Why we need people like yourself, Baba Ogun Bami, or send the mess, because there's so much other things have been added into the equation that more folks get disenchanted or get to, well, I can't do that. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of time and all that. And that's where the problem comes in. We should make it easy and simple in order to bring it together. The reason Christianity is so popular, because it's easy to get into. If you screw up, relay it on Jesus. No, but he far requires personal responsibility, and that's a different ball game. You know, so that's why we're having the program. So I'm a firm believer. I don't care what house you belong. Every house needs its own priest and priestess that can divine, that they can go to, because that is the source to keep us out of mental crisis. You know, 85% of our problem comes through what? Mental misunderstanding.
Right.
Because we don't know how to deal with it. When he finally give us the answer. But we don't want to, you know. How does it correspond? It's the foundation for all of it. It is the origin of all divination systems. There is not a system on the planet as old as Ifa.
Yeah.
Now I challenge you to prove it any otherwise. Name me one that even come close to identify how things came into the world.
Right.
Please do. I'm the one to talk to. I'll carry you back 200,000, 300,000, 3 million. I'll carry your way back to the what it all started and just see what comes up. Because I've been fortunate enough to do the research and trace it.
Yeah.
No, so I don't let nobody. You can do what you want to do with them houses. But when it comes to E5, the science, you don't play with that.
Did you say you can do what you want to do with them houses?
Yes, he did.
You know. But don't play with E5.
Baba said you can do what you want to do with them houses.
Yes, he did.
What that say? But don't play with. You talking about 250 million years ago? They call this stuff a microchip. They didn't know what the hell they were looking at.
That's right. It's Odu Ifa. Look, it's like the Apele chains.
You better say it loud. So you better shut up and keep on talking. Lay it all the way out. What is that but Apele chain? What is it?
The divination tool system, the communication tool system,
the
talker, the speaker.
250 million years ago. 250 million years ago. Come on, people.
Love it. I love it.
There you go. Now you tell me what it is.
You said a microchip. But you know what? You know how we're typing right now? We're using all that. That's based off of the 256 what? Code, E5 code.
Yeah, right. The whole thing. We using ephod now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every time we talk, it's E5.
Yeah. So man, how you gonna miss it?
Mhm.
Isn't a search engine the same thing as an ephod divination? Isn't a search engine the same thing? You type in an answer, you type in a question, you get an answer back.
Because they're using the code.
Do me a favor. I think it's we did it before. We go when I ain't gonna play with you. I ain't gonna play with you. I ain't gonna play with you.
We got like 4 of those up in here.
Okay, I tell people, I say, you know, if you want to see the sincerity of something, look at when people get in trouble.
Ooh,
According to I think it's 1 Samuel, the 3rd chapter. Everybody, we played before. When King David got in trouble because the Philistines that came in, he took their wives and children and burnt the city. They were preparing to stone the boy. He's the king. They're going to stone him. They're going to stone him to death. That's in, I think it's in, let's just see the story. Okay. Where?
See, I got the book. See, I got the book. He about to go get the book. I got the book on it. Hold on, he about to go get the book.
Well, come on with it then, because I had to go to the phone. I don't want to keep getting
I
up
don't have
all
the
night.
book. I was just saying. I was just like, well, I keep scaring you when I pop in like that. I'm sorry. I'm
Go ahead. But I want y'all to see something.
You know he gonna give you documentation, Jack. He gonna give you some documentation.
He gonna get the book. He fixing to get
he
the book.
gonna give you that
Someone
documentation.
says 365 equals Abraxax, and then he says abracadabra. So I'm not sure what that means. And he said you're
no. See what you have to look at. You say it is it's 7 days in a week, right? You say it's 4 weeks in a month. You say it's 52 weeks in a year, right? Simple math. Divide 4 into 52. 4, what you get? 4 into 52.
12.
13.
13. I'm sorry. Look, I'm bad with math. Now I'm
13.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Right. I don't even know why I shouldn't be trying to do math in public.
Okay, they say it's 13 weeks between each season. What number is that? It says 91 days in there. 4 times 91 is 364. 65.25. That is an artificial number. Where you get that? Really, it's 36. Where 369 come from? Huh? Please tell me where it come from. Break that down for me. Because it goes back to 13.
Did he say, please tell me? He said, please tell me. Please tell me.
We've done the math. It's 28 days in moon cycle, 13 weeks involved in there, 91 days. In this way. When you break it all down, it's 364. And 364 go back to what? 13.
Yep.
Back to the feminine principle.
Yep.
Break it all down. You cannot write that female out. And if you look at the history of it, it'll tell you that they couldn't deal with that 13 because of the feminine, so they dropped it down to 12 to go to the sun. We are moon and not sun people. We are matriarch, not a patriarch. And by dishonoring, and the church have dishonored the female so much that we look down on as the fallen man when she is uplifting, because the first word in the Bible, it's the in beginning God. The word is Barashit, Bara Alahayim, Hasamayim Wa'aret. That the feminine breath created the world. Bam, bottom line. Strong Concordance 792. So you can play all you want to, even with your Bible. But if you look it up from Strong Concordance, that very first verse under the lexicon tell you that the feminine breath created the world. It was the breath that did it. I don't get excited because I knew y'all done got me.
Didn't they say that Olodumare? Didn't they say that Olodumare met SU in triple darkness?
It said that Olodumare.
It does.
Okay, but that makes issue feminine. That makes issue feminine out of triple dark. That makes issue feminine.
And don't you have to go through SU before you get when you do divination? Before you do your divination, don't you got to go through SU?
I go.
You definitely may go.
Can one of y'all please tell me what does triple darkness mean? I need
That's
somebody to
darker
explain.
than dark.
Yeah, Bushay.
What does it mean?
It's darker than dark.
It's
Darker than
dark.
dark. Yeah, darkness triple
It's
time.
dark. It's darker than dark.
It's so dark.
That's what that means. Triple darkness. Triple darkness. What?
And that, you know,
That has to have a meaning.
it does.
Yeah.
What does it?
Well, there's triple darkness as far as what we know, but then you go, you know, the Catholics make it seem like some kind of hell, or some type of thing about hell. If you go into Catholicism, it's like, you know, they go into that. But that's like the 3 days of darkness. No, hold on, let me see.
But I mean, triple darkness. What does God Google say about it?
Yeah.
What is
Before
God?
anything
The Lord of Google?
manifested in the universe, before light, sound, form, or time, existence was pure, undifferentiated darkness within darkness within darkness. It is the womb of all things. In many
Right.
traditions, especially African cosmology and Islamic mysticism, it is understood that creation was birthed out of this triple darkness, the womb of the black woman. I mean, I could keep going on, but you know,
that's all nice, but that still ain't too. How you got triple darkness, man? Am I tripping?
okay. Well,
Is
to
this-
me, what that means, based off of my understanding of Ifa cosmology and based off of what I've read in Ifism, which is really the foundation for a lot of my understanding of cosmology, is that it is the unseen field. You know, we have everything has duality and individual realms. So the one thing that is the one, which is the supreme, the all, which is I said yesterday is like the macrocosm, and then you break everything else as a microcosmic like piece of that macrocosm. So that makes the realm of the seen versus the realm of the unseen. But even in the realm of the unseen, the realm of the seen, there's different levels, like from Irumale to Orisha, which because we all came, according to this book and according to other cosmologies, we all came from earth, ether, fire, air, water. Like we followed one of the Irumale that personified itself as an Orisha, and we're part of that lineage.
Okay.
So
That's what I'll custom. That's what I'll custom teach.
Is like the calabash. That triple womb of darkness is that universe that we're all trying to get back to with Christ consciousness and with Ori to get to that perfect state, which is Apare, which is that piece of us that is a part of Oludamare that is sitting in that triple womb of darkness, that is taking accountability for all our actions, words, deeds that we do in this realm, so that when we return to that realm, it's always a constant cycle of coming and going and coming and going until we completely evolve, like what the Buddhists call nirvana.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just
I like
right?
everything that you said. I like everything you said. But girl, I'm still lost on that triple darkness.
Yeah.
I'm still lost on.
I don't think that you are. I think that people put terms on things. Like I said yesterday, we sit here and we watch a movie and we be like, ooh, that's deep. We break down the symbolism and we're looking at it when we're watching a movie from a fifth, anything higher than the third dimension. And that is the trap. That is the trickery of the Hollywood tree, Holly tree wood, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing here. They done put these terms out here that make us feel like, ooh, but we understand because we've all been born as above, so below.
Okay. So basically, triple darkness is darkness.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's female. It's Oyeku. It shows up as dark, plus one, dark. Everything has that plus one.
Wait a minute.
I want to go here.
Me
Okay,
too.
I want to go here. I want to go to
I got
1
saved.
Samuel, basically the Bible class. I want to go to the 30th chapter. I'm gonna go to the 5th and 6th, 6th, 7th, and 8th verse. Mark, if you can pull that up. And because everybody believes the Bible. And if the Bible says so, it's got to be right.
Everybody believes the Bible.
Yeah,
I believe the Bible. I
so
believe
I have
the
to
Bible.
use the Bible to get them to see you know what the hell you talking about. So,
I believe.
Yeah, I believe
I
the Bible.
believe the Bible.
Yes,
So
I'm
you
a
go to
believer.
1 Samuel, the 30th chapter, and let's go to verse 5, 6, and 7.
Where are we
Please.
going?
What you about to read, Bible?
I'm going to read 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 5, 6, 7, and 8. And
Is
this
that
is
about the
where,
witch of Endor?
no. I'm talking about, there you go. People talk, see, people always talk about, I pray. Your prayer don't mean nothing when it comes to getting business handled. They divine. Okay, now we got to pull them. I want y'all to check this out. Now remember,
Ever want to pick it back up? I am right here.
Okay, what are you doing? Who's talking?
Triple darkness, though.
who's that
Okay,
talking back and back?
that's crazy.
Somebody's phone recorded the message.
We still
I was like, what is going on?
We can pick that triple darkness back up if you want
darkness,
to.
man. We're gonna have to do a whole show on triple darkness.
Oh,
Look
triple
at
darkness.
Huh?
We got to do a whole
Yeah,
triple darkness show.
Good.
Oh wait, oh it says to my understanding it's the 3 trimesters in the room.
30.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but
no, that sounds nice. That sound, I
that
like that.
sounds nice because we ain't talking about the womb of creation, yeah. But so, yeah, the
The
water.
waters,
Okay,
the primordial waters.
was primordial water.
Primordial waters. Okay, I can
It's
roll
all
with
in
that too.
there. Yeah, but
Is
it's
that
all in there. But
Olokun? No, so is that Olokun?
Yeah,
that
I
could
just
be,
always wondered why I used to mess with the 5%ers, and I used to, hear just different people throwing the term triple darkness around, and I'm like, man, how can you get triple darkness?
it's like that black wormhole where everything disappears once it go in it.
Right.
You know.
Oh.
But anyway, let's do this. Here we go. We're at
Black hole.
30th chapter. We're starting with verses 5. We're gonna go throughout.
Okay, what the somebody said something crazy.
Go back.
So okay, and David's 2 wives were taken captives. Is that what you wanted me to do? That's one.
Yeah, correct. Go right down the line.
Okay, and David's 2 wives were taken captives. Ahinoam the Jezreelites and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people.
They were preparing to stone the king. This is the king. Gonna stone the king to death. So he worried because the folks are turned on him.
Right, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God.
Okay, next verse.
Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, come on.
Right. Read.
Right.
Yo, roll.
That's how she was sounding.
That's habit.
And David was greatly distressed.
Come on now.
He was greatly distressed.
He was what now? He was what?
Greatly distressed.
Woo, Lord have mercy.
Come on.
For the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And David said to Abiathar the priest, Amalek's son, I pray thee bring me hither the ephod. And
I pray thee bring me the ephod. He didn't say we're gonna pray. Bring me the instruments. Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David.
Okay,
and David
what did he do?
And David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover.
Oh, right there. David inquired. So that means he cast this tool to get an answer, right?
Yes.
He got an instant answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say wait for a sign, lightning gonna flash, and water billows gonna roll, and the ship
wait
gonna
for
rock.
Nathan. It ain't say wait for Nathan the prophet.
So is it that people are praying and they're saying, I'm not getting the answer by God, you don't answer my prayers, and then they say, well, divination is wrong, and then that's the reason. That's how you get the answer.
He's getting a direct answer. So David went, and 600 men that went with him and came to the brook, and where they was left behind stayed. But now the thing is, he asked for the ephod. The ephod is what the Urim Thummim is supposed to be, but the ephod is actually the old Pele chain. He didn't ask for the Urim Thummim. He said for the ephod.
I wonder why he didn't ask for a prophet.
Huh? Why
didn't he ask for a prophet?
Because anybody can is in trouble. I'm glad you asked. He didn't say prophet or whatever your name to do it. He said David did it.
Indeed.
Now, was he initiated? Hell no. But he got answers.
He
Did he
inquired
not?
at the Lord's. He said through the ephod.
And the Lord spoke to him through the ephod, got the answer, and they went, they won the battle and didn't lose a man. And he covered the ark of the covenant. And you tell me.
Man, that's crazy. I looked this up, right?
Yeah.
And it said the ephod was a priestly garment richly made, described in Exodus 28.
Yeah.
It was not just clothing, it included a breastplate called the breastplate of judgment, which held the Urim and Thummim.
Right.
Special sacred objects used for divination or receiving direct
Used
answers.
for what? Read that again. Read that again. What it was used for?
Which held the Urim and Thummim, sacred objects used for divination of receiving direct answers from God. Yes, no answer. So when David asked the ephod, he was asking to consult God.
Thou shalt not believe in divination.
So the next, look, upon the time, the next time a Hebrew Israelite talk to me, where's the ephod? Say,
if you don't have an ephod, I can't take you seriously.
I can't talk.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You're gonna be an Old
You're not
Testament.
talking direct to God. How are you getting your answers? Where are you getting your answers from?
Why are you sitting at a street talking out your mouth? Where is the ephod?
Yeah, what
you need to have the Urim Thummim on top of that with the stone.
Oh my
Y'all divine. How y'all talking? Y'all not talking through God.
Yes, I love that they put the tribe of Judah down there. I like that because you know they always say that we are from the tribe of Judah, right?
We can't be. We older. We too old. We too old. We are too old. And guess what? There is no J in the Hebrew language.
That's so true.
It's not a language. It's not a language. It is an act. If you go into the, I think it's what is it, Genesis, where it says Abraham was the first Hebrew, that word came from the word Hebrew. That means he that crossed over. What does the word Hebrew mean? We're off in that again, but I got to get back where we're going. It means that he that crossed over. That is not a language. That is an event. That's so
I go.
You go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the danger right there, Baba. You know, our stuff is so old that everything is intertwined into it. And when we talk about it to bring it up to other people understanding, a lot of them are in Christianity, Hebrew, Judaism, Muslim, whatever you want to name it, and they think we are picking at them. They think we're poking at them. You understand where I'm coming from?
Sometimes you got to pick. Sometimes you got to pick to get the open because they've been in darkness so long, triple darkness so long. Got to get some light to them.
So what again is the triple darkness?
Yeah.
They never evolved.
Got to pipe some light into it. You understand? I tell people all the time, what does not make sense?
Can I add one thing onto that triple darkness? The reason why I brought up Oyeku was because everything is about life, Ejiagbe, death, Oyeku, which is womb. You know what I mean? That triple stage of darkness. And then everything has to be divided again, or some people say multiplied again. So we have 2 goes to 4, goes to 8, goes to 16, and so on. So everything just keeps changing because energy can't be destroyed, right? So it just
cannot be conquered or destroyed. Yeah,
right. So that's for me. But that triple stage of blackness, you got to keep going through that cycle.
Yeah.
And when he said there's only triple stage of darkness, that made sense to me, and that's why I went back to what I just said.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how they put me out. I'm not gonna tell you what group put me out, but this group put me out because I just said this simple thing. This is a simple truth. Is it possible to have total darkness?
And they put you out for that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because they said yes, it is. They said it is possible to have triple darkness, and it is possible to have all darkness. And I brought up this question. I just said, close your eyes and please tell me, what do you see? You're gonna see pinholes of light. That's why we have a saying that out of darkness comes light. They are one. We separate them for the conversation of duality.
That's my logo. Out of darkness.
That is. Actually,
But yeah,
a
they
lot
put
of
me
people,
out, cuz they put me out, man. They put me out.
So we the people that always get put out. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Hold your head and say Ori Shun.
Yeah,
Israelites in Yoruba teach the divination, some of the divination tools are for the priest class only. That is not true. That is not true. They may treat it, but that is not true.
Yeah.
I just told you that a while ago because David was neither a priest, he was just a king. He had not studied under any of them, and he was able to get answers. And that's the thing about it.
David was hard headed though, man.
Well, David stole Uriah's wife. I mean, this guy took another man's wife and had the dude killed. We can go on down the line, but I'm talking about who has the right to divine, who don't. That is called custom and tradition. It has nothing to do with your growth, and that's what got us messed up. We want to put certain categories and classes on what you can and cannot do, and that is not my people.
Yeah.
No, that's house.
You gotta be a priest to talk
house.
to your ancestors and ask yes or no questions with some carry shells.
Yeah,
you ain't gotta be a priest. That's your
you making a
birthright.
mockery out of one of the most powerful tools that we have, and you're limiting other people from exploring their spiritual potential growth because they're afraid, because fear and guilt is the most powerful two energies on the planet.
I see.
Fear and guilt. So you make them fearful. If you don't do this gonna happen. Guilty if you do it. Come on, people. Let's get real. This is about individual growth and evolution or evolving. Your character, EY Pele.
I say.
And if you have EY Pele, then you need to run like a scalded dog. Whoever don't have it, you need to run. And the thing called Israelite. No attack, just facts. What is the etymology of the word Israelite? Where did it come from? Ooh. Was Abraham an Israelite? Was Jacob? Was Job an Israelite? Hell no, because Job is older than the book of Genesis. That was nobody called Israelite in Job around Yahab's time. Next thing is, you said Jacob wrestled with the angel all night, and the angel changed it. He didn't say that God changed it. They said the angel changed his name. And the angel had to leave before daybreak. Was it a vampire? Or was one of the Anunnakis? They had to get up out of here.
It was one of the ones from Sinner.
So okay. Baba, do you believe that story?
I'm not being facetious. It's just common sense. How are you gonna say you were that when the man had he had 2 wives and 2 concubines, he had babies by? Which one of them is your mama? And Abraham, he had 3 wives, but you only talk about Keturah, you talk about Sarah and Hagar. What about Keturah? She had 6 sons. So ain't none of them kids?
Wait a minute, Baba, did these people really exist?
No.
Oh, okay.
According to the book called Jewish Myth and Legend, that these people is an allegory. Galatians 4:20-21. But these things are an allegory. It's in there. 85% of the Bible is mythology and allegory and legend. Isn't it funny that Adam and Eve got a neighbor? All Adam and Eve you see got a neighbor. So who cut the neighbor card? And why does he kind of come from a rib when they said the first one whose name was Lilia? That's the first wife of Adam. They were laid side by side, And why did they ate an apple, but they covered themselves in fig leaves? I just want to know.
Hey,
because
man,
they changed the gender from feminine to masculine by getting rid of the fig. The fig is the most sacred fruit in there. Now, if you think I'm lying, abundant child, look up the holy fig. It'll tell you, look up the holy fig, the fig.
I go?
You go.
Okay, Galatians 4:20-25. Is that the hold on? Let me
Galatians 4:23. Yeah, it talks about 23. The allegory. Yeah,
because I want to make sure that people have these, through 25 or
Galatians 4:20, 20, 21, and 22. I think you're gonna get what we're looking for right along.
I want to make sure that the
there, and
people are able to find this. Because okay, here we go. It's 4 and 24. So let me show it to you guys. Because I don't want
fourth
people
chapter,
to
book on verse 20.
ever be able to come. Well, first I wanted to say this. So it talks about divination. The Bible forbids divination because it supposedly undermines God's sovereignty and authority by seeking knowledge from sources outside of God, often associated with false gods or demonic forces. It is
That's
seen as
not
a
true.
rejection of God's revelation and an attempt to control or manipulate God's will through unapproved means.
But
That's
ain't what God said. Did God say that? God said communicate me with. So they got a problem.
He said, God said what? To communicate with what?
You communicate with me through divination. Well, I think he gave me you and theorem. You just read it a while ago.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden, man, it's evil. Now, God is jealous, and you ain't gonna run around here using my stuff and feeding somebody else.
you think it was God that said this, or do you think this was the writers that were writing?
It's the writers. All this is about the writer. God ain't saying none of that. Matter of fact, which God you're talking about and where did God come from? I'll get there later. Come on. The bondman read.
The original creation included female first, or at least female and male simultaneously, not male dominance first. The fig tree was and is sacred, and it symbolizes far more than just covering nakedness. It is a cosmic tree, a womb tree, a tree of initiation and eternal life. The truth is the entire structure was changed over time to replace the feminine principle with the masculine dominated narrative. Turn the womb, which is a fig tree, into a symbol of shame rather than a cosmic creation.
Somebody ought to say something. I keep on talking.
Indeed.
Genesis 1:27 says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. The Hebrew for man here is Adam, meaning humanity, not male specific. Male and female were created together at the same time. There was no dominance, no rib, no hierarchy. Later in Genesis 2, the story was rewritten. Adam is created first from dust. Eve is created second from Adam's rib. Woman is framed as secondary and dependent on man.
Thank you, my sister.
Yeah. I had to write it a certain way to get that result. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. You understand? The thing about it, so people don't realize that. It was a trick of the priesthood. The trick. And I learned that by dealing with the rabbis on the white Jewish side, because the niggas didn't know. I mean, I'm sorry, the Negroes didn't know what it was. You understand? They still chasing an illusion. But them white boys know better. You go.
You know, I deal with some people that have been to these particular houses that have folks with the white coats, and they happen to think that something is wrong with them because they're able to know certain things and see certain things, but once they get hold of Ifa, just take off like a rocket. And the funny thing about it is, I made an expression to this lady that she said, they told me that I'm insane and I need to stay in here until I get myself together. I said, oh, so you were in sync with your thinking and now they want to do everything they can do to get you out of sync with your thinking. And that lady said, oh my God. Oh my God. Indeed. If you messing with me, that's what my objective is. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make you self-centered, and I'm gonna make you insane. I'm here to tell you. That's what I'm gonna do to you. You're gonna be self-centered and insane, in sync with yourself.
Your Ori.
Indeed. I shame.
So this is why I tell people, if you want to play with the book and come on and see me. I guarantee you, when I get through, you're gonna like one guy went and throw this in the Mississippi. He said, throw this damn thing in the Mississippi. He threw his Bible in the river. I said, you don't do that.
Right.
You don't throw the book away.
Man.
He threw it in the Mississippi. He said it. He threw it in the Mississippi.
Well, see, also for me, some of the things just in having communication with my Gungu, my ancestors, that's why you see I pulled out the Bible. That is a great way for me to get in contact because that was some of the language that they were using. So Sometimes they tell me go to Psalms or go to such and such. And
Sister, you're right on. And when you go to the Psalms, did they tell you the Psalms is a book that breaks spells? And
yes,
okay, and certain Psalms you read, you get reactions. Well, I got a book called The Power of the Psalms and the
yep.
Proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yes, no.
Oh, well, why
You
not?
got to have it. You got to have it.
You
I
got to have it
screenshot it
because,
so I can get it. I screenshot it.
okay. And the thing about it,
But
because
I
you got
knew it
people,
just from doing that work, and then all of a sudden, this resurgence of hoodoo, you know, it's all over the place. People be like, use this psalm, use this psalm. So it's all over the place, you know, because there's like this thing with hoodoo right now, you know what I mean? Where people are just breaking it down, but I see everything is about psalms. But before that was, there became like a resurgence of that information. Just me doing the work when I received, because I started in the Lukumi house. So just when I received my ancestral pots, that's when I'm getting yes or no questions and asking for the wisdom, they would tell me to go to the Psalms. So I knew that that information was right because I went to source. I can't rely on what you say or what Brother Ogun
right.
says.
And you're not
I will
supposed to.
I would be like, is it any of this information relative? Do I need to study it? Do I need to rechange some things, especially stuff with the you know the birth? Because that's like changing everything that I've been teaching people. But it's fine. I'm a student. Everybody knows in my school we're all student teachers.
We're all just
Nobody
students. We're
can
still
possibly
learning.
know everything. So I do believe that you need to go to the source for information. So with all of this type of stuff, I always ask, like, what information am I supposed to retain and keep? And the
You know,
Bible is
I like this person. Was King Oz asked the question? The only
Yeah.
reason you got a limitation because somebody put the limitation, there's no limitation on because you as an individual, you're already in a position to do the same thing they do. What make them different than you? If excuse my French, if they eat shit and die, what make them different than you? I
And I
ask
also
you.
want to say that I mean, I can understand, you know, like
You
the
need
priest class,
proper
the
training.
Levites, which were the priest class, and the Bible allows. There are certain levels to certain things. Yes, there's absolutely certain levels of things. However, you can use divination and not be initiated in E5.
Right. And I tell people all the time, don't limit yourself because somebody said, well, in order to get this, you got to have that. Who's the first person to get initiated? Who did the first initiation? Where did it come from? The word initiate means to begin. How many times do you
Even
start all over?
Damari was initiated.
Right. So how do you start all over? How do you, I mean, you came from another level into this realm. That started your beginning. How many beginnings are you going to have in this realm? You have levels that you evolve, and that's it. You know, I tell people all the time, when it comes to certain things are innately already is built in you. You got to tap in, and at some point in time, you're gonna come to a crossroad where the enlightenment, awakening, gonna come, and you're gonna wake and start seeing things different. Nobody taught me this. In 1973, I was in a revival. I'm a Holy Ghost preacher, Jesus and water baptized, and I'm teaching and preaching. We're healing the sick and raising the dead. We're in a revival. I'm in Jackson, Mississippi, packed house. My night is Friday night to get paid and on the plane. That day, we did a 3-day and night fast. I'm getting ready for the night. I'm finna really thank the house. Glory's coming down tonight. I want y'all to know that God, Jesus gonna walk these benches. Man, about noon that day, something came in the trailer, came where I was staying at. The voice said, I'm going to change your name. My name was Alvin Bagg. They said, we're going to change your name to Yahshua. And Jesus, we don't know. I cussed out. Get out of here, you devil. The blood of Jesus. Get up out of here. You got to go. Get on up out of here. Get on out of here. The thing was coming. So I tell you what, when you go home, write the name Jesus horizontal, write it vertical, not horizontal, and examine every letter in the name. When I went home, now I'm shook up. I couldn't preach that night. I mean, this thing done messed me up so bad. So we had praise service for about 2 hours. I let them go home. I get on the plane and go home. I go home when I go to, back then we didn't have no computers. I had to go to the library. The library book was on, it's called the Randomized Unabridged Dictionary. I went through each letter in that name. Come to find out there was no J until the 1500s. Whoa, damn. Then I found out the next word of that E was the god ear. Then you had Inky and then Neil. The god. I'm like, whoa, this is an acronym. This is not a name. Then I found out that El was the god of the Canaanites. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Now I'm writing this book from Adam to Antioch, Black Man's Plight in Biblical History. I'm writing that book. At that same time, we're trying to prove that Jesus was black. Man, you can waste your time all you want to trying to prove it. That ain't what it's about. So here I go to church. Got the members. Y'all, there ain't nobody called Jesus. My church mother had a heart attack in church when I said it wasn't nobody called Jesus. Oh, take my Jesus from me. Lord have mercy. Oh, good God, my. Oh, take my Jesus. Oh, Lord. Damn, baby. Daddy carry out. Oh, lady.
Because I know you can see it.
Yeah.
Baba, excuse me. A funny story. When I got conscious to what I'm into now, I would sit down and I would have different discussions with my kids and my wife. And my wife just bust out crying one day. No, leave me alone. Don't take him away from me. What are you talking about? And that's what she was talking about. That's what she was talking about. She really
has such an ecological effect that people literally lose their heart, act up.
But talk to her about it now. She'll eat your lunch and pop the bag.
Okay.
Yeah. She would eat
so
your
you
lunch
know, quite naturally, you know, my membership went down for a while, and then they left because they couldn't handle it. But I began to teach them from there's a book Bible called the Hebrew and Greek Keyword Study Bible by Spiro. I made every member in the church get one, because a lot of churches, everybody got a different Bible, different editor, and all these things. Nick said one got a new word Bible, and one got a Schofield, one got this, and they don't read the same. So I messed around there and got everybody to start learning. Well, what I want to show you, if I may, Monica, I found the book. I'm gonna get it. It's called The History of the English Bible, from the KJV to the NIV by Jack P. Lewis. Have you ever heard of it? Every so-called Christian needs this book, and I just happened to stumble across it. Can I
go, Bob.
You talk when I go.
Okay. The question is to you.
Well, I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
What was the name of the book you said we all needed?
The History of the English Bible.
I have these discussions with Baba all the time, and my thing is, if a person wants to follow Christianity, leave them people alone, man. If they want to follow whatever they want to follow, let them follow that. But Baba chops me up and tell me, no, gotta let them know what the truth is. Well, if whatever brings you balance, whatever spiritual system bring you balance, bless your heart, continue on in your spiritual system. But for me, it's E5.
Yeah, it's gonna bring you back. You run around with two flats on your car, and you think you're riding on all four wheels.
Jesus gonna fix it for me.
It's called the English Bible from the KJV to NIV. I'm on page 29. It says, translation of the King James anticipated that effort was criticized and that it must be disappointed. Thomas Fuller, son, he says, among the most vocal of the critics is Hugh Broad. who after examining the translation declared that it was so poorly done that it would grieve him as long as he lived. He insisted, now check this out, he insisted he would rather be tied between two wild horses and pulled apart than give it to the common people. 50,000 errors is in the King James Bible.
That's crazy.
50,000 errors in the manuscript.
That's why I be thinking them fundamentalists is really suffering from mental health problems.
That goes back to what I was just saying. If that's what bring them people balance, man, we need to leave people alone, man.
It's not bringing them balance. It's just not.
You are doing them a disservice. If I'm affirm that if the universe bring a person to your life, and you
that's different. That's different. Not that's different.
I know you gonna go with that.
We talked about that. That's different. If they come across my path, oh yeah, they about to get this business. They about to get this work. But right now we have people that are listening in that probably gonna go to their relatives and tell about, oh, let me tell you, you following that BS limit, and all that, and this person might mess them up mentally.
All I can say, they already messed up mentally.
Exactly, that's what I said. So help them out, bro.
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Well, at least give them the keys. Be like, listen, just go study. Because if you're really into this,
well, this is why I give
good character
and documents.
That's the only
out there just running their mouth. Just like I tell people, like I was telling with Sister Monica, I've had a lot of groups want me to join them. The Muslim wanted me to join me. Malachi Yard group, the Nawabians. They want me to come down and learn Nawabi and all that. Nigga, please. You took and put Arabic and Hebrew together, created a language. You call it Nawabi. Come on, bro. And they had temples in Dallas. Yahweh ben Yahweh and Ben Amin. I met Ben Amin in Corsicana, Texas, where I'm from. He had a 100-acre farm. He telling folks they're raising their own food. We went down there going get some organic food. Every damn box came from the market.
Oh.
I mean, everything came from the market. I came to get some grown, some wholesome organic, and you bringing in boxes of food from downtown. Then he want me to, how they put it, you don't go against the prince, we're gonna whoop you. The nigga you raised there whoop me, he's gonna be some slow walking and crying. I promise you. I promise you that.
So snot slinging and power bringing, huh?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because if I can't speak my mind, why am I going to be a part of them? You're going to tell me what I can and cannot say.
Indeed. That some of that is going on up in our culture in E5.
Right. I'm going like that. I
get blocked and deleted almost every day.
Don't feel like Lone Ranger.
Because I be calling people out. I'd be like, what you mean? People are saying even that if we don't study their culture and we don't understand the Yoruba culture, then we can't really be doing E5. And I'm like, what are you talking about? E5 is not just Yoruba culture. You're trying to make us Yoruba. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. A lot of people go into Ifa and Orisha, Elays and houses, and all of a sudden they dressing, they looking, they talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't got nothing told you they're gonna throw no work your way yet. You ain't got that check, girl. Look, boy, look here. Keep on
up
going.
in the divinations that they trying to do work, but my old dude, we overcome all of my enemies. Just use my mouth. That's all I got to do. I don't need a candle. I don't need an ebo or none of that. Just talk. Use my mouth.
I say. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
that's why you got to know who you are. Like you said, it comes back to self. Your Ori is here for a reason. There's already a program that was assigned, and you just unaware because of Eshu makes it so that when we come to this Earth School marketplace, we're not just going to be given the cheat codes. You're going to have to go through what you said that you was going to go through. So you have a set of circumstances that will help you to evolve into the Orisha that you are. That's who we are.
I say.
You're talking about Obatala, or those should be your lineage. Those should be your elders that you are downloading and evoking those virtues. You know what I'm saying? You are an Orisha.
Indeed.
Yourself.
Indeed. I wrote a book, and I had
Yes.
I got that one, Baba. I wrote a book in this
You
Baba
got
Lab.
this one.
Huh?
You got this one.
And yep, in the Drop Squad kitchen. Yep.
This
Drop
is
No,
this
I
is
don't have that one. No, I don't. Let me see that.
no, you
Pull
don't.
back a little bit
This
further.
one is this is in Yoruba.
Yeah,
Yep.
pull that back a little bit further.
Huh?
Pull it back a little bit further. No, pull it back. Yeah, there you go.
Iwe Mimo Ifa.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that book. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, it's in Europe.
Try to look it up and try to buy it.
How much they want for it, Bob?
Look it up. I ain't gonna tell you. Look it up.
I'm on my tablet. I don't have my computer.
Yeah, I paid 300 for it.
Okay, thank
300.
you.
Is it in you?
Thank
But you know how to read Yoruba, right?
I
You
do
know how
my
to read.
best. I do my best, but because
Yeah,
I
that's
have
all you can
I have
do.
true Yoruba friends, they help me. I ain't got through that. That's why I said it's in Drop Squad books. I have a restaurant. That's one of the books that I had there because I.
But I'm showing this was sent to me from the priest there in Abeokuta.
Uh-huh.
It was a gift. I got it, and I got my special hat they gave me when they gave me made me an honorary whatever it was. It's called Aruba.
Oh, really? Wow, it's a title. Yes.
Yeah, you know, with the fine with it. I got a
With
couple of them.
leaves.
They made me two of those because they was excited with my knowledge.
That's what they.
And they want to know when I was gonna come over and visit. I said I ain't. I didn't say is. I said I ain't.
You ain't missing nothing.
You know, I ain't missing nothing. We come over here and we're gonna make you in a lock bar. Undertaker, I got them back here.
I don't know what's wrong with mine.
You see,
This
and when
listen,
in
y'all,
order to do a goon goon, you got to be in a lock bar because you listen you in a lock bar, you can't do a goon goon initiation. I'm not gonna do any initiation.
I'm initiated to a gungu.
Yeah. So and the only lock bar I know he got killed.
You initiated here?
I was initiated in Akure, Nigeria.
Yeah.
I say.
So like I tell you, man, so no, I'm not gonna go cross over there and give you a lot of money, come back in 2 weeks. You can't keep him much in 2 weeks.
So, Baba, are you saying you're against initiations?
No, sir. No, sir. I am not. Whatever plops your mouth or move your boat, it's yours. That's your money. You do what you want. I ain't gonna do it.
Right.
So I've been there. I spent out a lot of money. And when we got through, they didn't know more than I did. And I tell anybody, if it's in a book, why would you beat my butt and run me through all these changes and elbow to elbow, stand on my head, spin around 5 times, go do all of this, go get a whole herd of goats, kill them all up, and you're gonna eat them, have a barbecue, and then
Now I have talked to quite a few of them, and that'd be the first thing out their mouth. Why aren't you initiated? Come here, let me initiate you. Let me give you your hand. No, thank you. I'm
$10,000.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Here's the guy the day was
no, wait, I
advertising.
got a hand. I heard
Here's
someone
the
say
guy.
what, $15 and $3,600.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
the day was a man advertising to get a Shay. He gets 6,500. He's charging 6,500 to help you to get your Shay. I said, what? When I came along, no such thing as a Shay. Yeah, but when I came into this, there was a thing that's called Ishay back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Was a thing called being a Gungun priest in the 70s, because those things came along later. When I came to this, you had to go to Oyatunji village in Carolina to get initiated. You went down, you stayed down there for a month.
Yeah. That's where I started, was out of Oyatunji village.
Oyatunji village. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've been there 3 times. Like I got my wood reading.
As I said on the show the other day, he got initiated in Cuba first. Then he got initiated into Ishay. Mm-hmm. So
was he also in Voodoo too? So did he get it? Was it the first was a Voodoo? But listen, you guys, I know people. It's been almost 3 or more hours. I know people getting tired.
Yeah, and then when I ran in Chief Malahochi, he came to Dallas because he did the reading for my son, and he was called the No Nonsense Babalawo. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Abundant Child. It's called Chief Malahochi.
You see, I'm like, Like, I've heard that name before. I don't know.
He's the one that wrote the book Badum. He's the one with a lot of things come out for setting things up. He's got quite a few works out there. He told us, quit wasting our money going to Africa when it's already, people brought it with them when they came over here. The same spirit is that they have there is over here. You haven't got to go across the water to get it.
I initiated to Ephi here in Florida, and I'm so thankful.
I hear you. And he sat down and showed, he said, I can divine with a cone nut.
I was told by my Baba Ifa that there are certain people, there are certain Babalaos, like there's this one particular Babalao that only uses Ejiogbe to divine because that's all you need. You don't need anything else. And there's certain other Babalaos that only divine with cola nuts. When I heard that, it was like game over for me.
I go.
It was like, I could do that.
You go, you may.
Is your do your Babalao still stand behind you?
Me, a budding child? No. My Babalao, you know how you talk about, I was in the group, and then one day I just wasn't in the group anymore. And I'm not even gonna call, I'm not gonna ask, why would you delete me from the Elay? And I'm just alone, what they call a renegade, I guess, Ianifa now.
Is it okay to, well, will you mention his name, or is it you keep that sacred?
I don't think it's important to mention his name.
Okay. Well, because I know quite a few of them down there in Florida. And man, boy, praise the Lord, if you get my meaning.
Yes. I don't have anything negative to say. It was just time for us to part paths. And when I met this sister who has the same Odu, very, very, oh man, powerful sister that is a spiritualist. She don't be dealing with the dogma. She's initiated to Ifa. She says the same thing that we're saying, like Ifa is the highest and the best system, but she is a spiritualist. And when I had her do Dafa, she told me to hold my head, my Ori, and said somebody abandoned you, somebody that you thought that you were going to be studying with. And basically she told me what happened without me even telling her. And she said, hold my head and thank my Ori. My Ori did that. I was not supposed to be underneath this person.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be a traditionalist. You're supposed to start your own tradition.
And I am.
With your own house.
The new African Vodun. I've seen this.
That's metal.
They have a whole like following and collective.
Yeah. So I did that because he was the one that really broke me loose from a lot of things. I kept trying to join certain Igbays, and every time they were divine, it would say no. And I go to another, it would say no.
It happens to me all the time too.
Yeah. Then finally, I got hard-headed because I want to be a part of the community. I want to be reckoned. Yeah. I wanted to be a part of the community. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And I bought the dream. Went in and got involved. And the day that I got initiated, I got my warriors. I got my pot, my Ilikis, my E-Day. We spent a whole day and a half out there at Baba Orestes, and I was coming through Santero. I love them because they were beautiful. But the day they was put me, I had to take off the old whites and put on, and they gave me my bath, my herbs, and all that. And just when they was divining to find out some more information, one of my ancestors showed up there and asked him, "What in the hell are y'all doing to him?" It literally scared the bejesus out of them. They fell back and say, "Did you ask your ancestors? Well, did you get okay for us to do this for you?" I said, "No." Well, he said, "Well, behind you is a man. There's a warrior standing there with a shield, dressed in purple, saying, 'We want to know, what are you doing to him?'" It was my guardian, Orisha. He says, before we can do anything else, we can't go no further. He says, you got to turn around and face that wall where he's standing behind you. And he said, and ask and let him know what we're doing is okay and we're not hurting you. I had to turn around and face it and let the energy behind me let them know I'm doing this for growth and they're not hurting me. Then he gave them the okay to finish. Otherwise, they was packing up their stuff, getting out of there. You know, he says he's been with you from the day you came on the planet. I'm going like, righteous. So I've had some experiences.
Did you feel that energy yourself, Baba?
Huh?
Did you feel that energy yourself?
I was so elated and excited about getting initiated. So of course, and that's my emotions. My emotions, I'm vibing, man. You know, I'm about ready to go in the community. When we got through, I found out that I knew more than the people initiated me. I've been divine since I was 12 years old. I was among the spiritualist group that you're talking about. We used to read the 52 decks of cards. We would read the cards and tell you your thing. Yeah, you know.
I started off with cards. I started off
You
with
know,
cards.
I can tell.
Deck of
I still
cards.
use it.
Yeah, and you know, deck of cards running down to. I'm 12 years old doing this stuff. You know, I came in the world as what you call have a discerning spirit. I could see things before they happen. You know, they call me a prophet from birth because I'm the seventh child of 10. I'm the only one to live out of 10. I'm the seventh child. I'm the only one to live. 6 died before, other one died after me. I'm the only one that survived. My mama had RH negative blood. And they said I wasn't supposed to live. But I'm 79. I'm going to be 80, you know. And I've had this gift all of my days. People always come to me when I'm a child. When things would happen, go talk to JoJo. He can tell you. Now, I was a child.
Yeah, me too.
This
It
has
was
been
amazing.
a great live, Chief.
I'm sorry, yeah, my battery.
That's okay. We have 3 hours and 26. That's the thing. When we get into this and we get into teaching and stuff like that, time flies, man. And you look up and you're like, man, that's been 3 hours. Yes, it's been 3.5 hours, you guys. And it's been a lot of information shared here. There's been a lot of books that you guys have been getting the knowledge about. Go back into the chat. Because it takes a second for the chat to show. But come back and check out the chat, and we'll put in the books are in there. Thanks to Abundance Child for making sure she kept track of all the books. Because I be trying to look them up so I can spell them right. Can't read. Can't get them the wrong spelling. But she was able to get them and put them in there for me, and make sure that people knew what those books were. So I hope that you guys took notes on the information so you could research it yourself. This is not just a class of just taking information and just not looking it up and doing the research. No, do the research.
Indeed.
How are we able to get in contact with each other? Or are you have information available to the public?
Yes, by all means, post it up. I'm available. And matter of fact, just to know that I am. I'm retired truck driver, 56 years, and pastor 48 years. So I'm retired. The wife is retired. I'm at the house, and I enjoy this. Matter of fact, I've been looking forward to this because they've been trying to get me to do this a long time. I also authored a book called The Other Side of Slavery, The Untold Story. I got some history that reveals some things, but this is my life. Ifa is my life, and I love Ifa, and I will stand and defend it till my last dying breath. I don't defend nobody's culture and your customs and stuff. I defend Ifa. It's steady evolving. Every day we talk, like you were saying, talking about my flower and Odu is born. Things are happening. And right now we need true people to get rid of this madness that's going on, that we can turn this thing around. I got a letter today about some big thing, some kind of bimbe they finna have in May. Okay, so
May the 4th.
May the 4th. How is it going to help us to grow? Ain't nobody in the EPA community going to Washington, D.C. and sit down with them crackheads up there and let them know which way they going. And the only body ever used this was Reagan, because Nancy Reagan had a psychic that she kept with her that helped him to get through that. The rest of these knuckleheads, they just flying by the seat of their pants. And we're gonna have to, as Ephah says, he's gonna take us, the indigenous people in this diaspora, to save the world. And that may sound like it don't mean anything, but I'm telling you, it's been already proven and shown. In 2000, December 21st, 2000, when the alignment had happened in 800 years, that's the message that came through the portal. Now, it's much more we can do because I'm leaving a lot of things out. But remember, we're starting with the calendar. We're talking about early stages about divination. What you can do. Every home need to have somebody in that house that can divine, rather than you sitting down and having these long Wednesday prayer meetings, which is not prayer meetings, and you're sitting there and then you're looking for a sign. You can get quick answers. I don't pray. I divine. I inquire and I get my answers right then. Whether I choose to follow it or not, that's up to me. But I get divine instructions.
Gratitude.
I get divine instructions, and I have a choice. I can either accept it or reject it. But you need a source to do what you call check and balance. That's my field.
I had a message I wanted to make you and Abundant Child laugh about, but I think I already told you about my books. I posted a particular book, and I got attacked from an Isheshe Babalao, and not attacked in a negative way. He did it the right way. He told me, he said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" You know, he said that on my Facebook page. And I said, yeah, DM me. So he DM'd me. I gave him my telephone number. He called me and he said, hey, are you initiated? I'm like, I'm initiated until a goon. And he said, well, you know how to divine? You wrote that your book was defined by you? What part of Isheshe are you a part of? I say, I tell you what, I already see where you're going with this because you're into the tradition. Why don't you divine to find out if my book should be published? And he said, would you let me do that? I said, brother, I will be glad to let you do that. And if it does not, if when you divine, it say to take it down, tear it up, I'll be the first one to say, hey, this Babalao told me this, and he got this do, and I'm tearing it up. And he said, okay. So he called me with another Babalao on the phone, old Batala priest. And they divined. And Ogun came out in the read. And Ogun told them, yes, it needs to stay where it's at.
No ambiguity with Ogun. Yeah.
That's what he said. He said, well, brother Ogun has spoken. I am sorry. I just felt like you're supposed to be initiated to be able to write and to interpret Odu. I say, well, everybody got to learn something.
Yeah.
That's shame. That was just funny to me.
So, you know, and that's the beauty of it, because I tell people, and I mean this, and I took it from the Proverbs. It says, in all thy ways acknowledge Ephah, and Ephah will direct your path. And I live by that.
That's true.
Because there's so many things come your way. There's so many spirits on the planet. And a lot of times you think it's you and it's something is talking to you through you. So you got to check it out. That's what I do. That's my check and balance. You know, when I go to people, they go, "What you doing to me?" Well, I'm checking my source. You don't pray for what? And it sounds funny because I'm in a Christian community, and you know what that means. It's a church on every corner in every block. This town has 7,000 people and 101 churches in the Black community. Abundant Child, you what I said?
Yes.
That's crazy. One Negro got 3 churches in a town this side, a block apart. Come on, people.
Well, he getting that money. He getting that bread, honey. He getting that 501.
Sister, I don't know what kind of bread he getting, because it's the poorest parish in Louisiana.
Yeah, he getting some kind of tax write-off, something.
What it is. This Negro sitting over here with 3 churches in a town this small, 3 or 4 members in each church. We can put them all in one room, put them all in this room, and still have room left over.
That's a tax write-off. That's what it sounds like to me.
I go.
You
My
man.
man.
Love y'all. Good night. Odabo.
Yes.
You know what
Odabo.
I'm saying? I'm
And
like,
listen. I'm
Yeah,
listen.
you know,
I'm fixing to pass out as soon as I
my eyes look tired. I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
remind me of my
so-
cousin. You remind me of my cousin right now. The way your eyes are
Yeah,
looking.
so
I can't even help it. I'm like, they're open though, but I'm just like, oh,
My eyes bleeding. Listen. Much
look,
love.
I'm in total agreement.
Come back next Sunday. Any final words? Because we're same time, same back channel. I'm
Same
going to
thing, and
organize.
we'll continue with part 4 because there's a plenty more to get where we're going. We only got part of the way, but there's much to it. And I do highly appreciate the ancestors and the fellowship of Abundant Child, your husband, coming on board because he could verify what I'm saying. And we're going to get more because this is the learning. And those that are tuning in, we just listen. Don't believe nothing we're saying. Just do the research. Don't get all hype and go quit this and stop that. Don't stop nothing. Don't stop taking your spiritual medication until you check out the information.
that's right.
What
See what I'm
subject is going to be next week? Is going to be on.
We're going to be part 4 because I got some more work. We got more dealing with how to use this calendar to achieve what we did tonight. And it saved a lot of people out of work. We're trying to pay all this money. Well, what's on my head? Well, what old dude did you come in the world under? First off,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive deeper into the calendar, and then we're going to get into how to divine. Are we going to?
Yeah, we're going to get some of that, and we'll show what process and simplify, and then I can put together this module, that will help them to do it. One thing is take the fear out of it that if you do something, you're going to get in trouble. That's the main thing. Whether it be OB, shells, or Mangli, if there's a book on it, then where's the danger? That's all I can say. And I have a book on all of them. You name it, from Pounding the Keen to Opele. I have the material on all of it, written step by step. Because Osamara, in your book, I'm pretty sure you got it, sister. He gives you a whole layout on how the Opele came and how to do the seniority. That's one powerful book. I love it. And with that being said, would you say you can hold it up again? I'm holding it up again. Trust me, that baby is worth every dime. Yes, ma'am. And it's all in there, So that would be something we can look into. And I'm pretty sure that the ancestors are pleased with you, sister. And I'm gonna say this: let's contribute to keep this thing going because you out here, and it takes money to move the wheel. And we just need to keep this thing going. You too, my sister.
If you guys can hit my Cash App because I gotta pay for my, my stuff, StreamYard, all that stuff.
Yep.
And I would love to have a conversation with you and your husband from time to time because I enjoy.
You already saved your number.
Huh?
I already saved your number. I'm gonna definitely be calling.
Okay, yeah. So go. Everybody said they love the show tonight. I'm seeing little comments. And this is what we need to do. Yeah, what we need to do. And with that,
bring more people, y'all. Bring more people that want to contribute. Really down with contributing.
Yeah.
Anybody
that with that being said, I would say a Karala, which means good night, and by all means send positive energy my way. Like I said, we have a couple of medical issues we're dealing with, but he probably gonna be all. It slowed me down and got me where I can really get some things done. So, with that being said, much love to the both of you and your families, and we appreciate the fellowship.
Ashe.
Odabo.
Odabo.
I love who I am. I'm loving me. Look in the mirror. Unapologetically love what I see. Love who I am. I am invincible. I am a fan. My curves and my features, God makes no mistakes. I am successful. I am what it takes. I'm bulletproof and 100 Because I'm living my truth. I'm invincible. I'm incredible. A star in the making.